Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Gao Wu, Behemoth Natural Disaster. My Only Beast Master. Chapter 81. Boom, dong dong. A series of dull trampling sounds like heavy hammers sounded in the darkness. This moment, everyone held their breath. Behemoth. It's really here. Boom, dong dong. In the vast arena, the sound of footsteps echoed at this moment. It is worth mentioning, just after this king-level beast arrived, the originally endless pack of wasteland wolves began to retreat into the darkness like a tide and disappeared. The whole process was silent. This scene, it's the sense of oppression brought by the king-level beast. Above the Jade Square, many of the students' geniuses even turned slightly pale at this moment. Gulu. Many people even swallowed subconsciously, with their calves trembling faintly. This day, humanity once again recalls the fear of being dominated by giant beasts. Before, I had only seen giant beasts in textbooks and TV. Speaking of it, this seems to be the closest I've ever been to a giant beast. On the square, some students couldn't help but whisper. Why he whispered, he didn't know, it was just subconscious and he didn't dare to speak loudly. Seem afraid of attracting the gaze of a giant beast. But actually, they were on the Jade Square, extremely far away from the arena. The root cause is psychological factors. In the past 50 years, the pressure brought by giant beasts on humans has been too great. Every time a giant beast comes out of the abyss, many cities will be destroyed and countless humans will die. In front of the giant beasts, human beings are as weak as a crying baby. Countless humans have a natural fear and awe of giant beasts. Practicing martial arts and becoming stronger is essentially just to reduce this fear. Outside the secret realm, the eyes of many king-level experts were fixed on the figure of the giant beast. And above the sky, several martial arts supremes have already given precise conclusions. Early king level 2nd or 3rd level. Kai Zhongyan, the supreme master of Qinglong Martial Arts Academy, stared at Lu Yu in the screen for a long time, and finally shook his head. The ability of Lu Yu and his pet beast to deal with beasts below the king level is a magical skill, but it's far from enough to compete with a king-level beast. The words fell. The supreme masters of the other 3 major martial arts schools also nodded in approval. On the contrary, Hu Yifeng, the commander of the Xuanlong army, was staring at Lu Yu with twinkling eyes. Don't know why, he always feels Lu Yu is the person favored by the martial god, and the martial god even personally came to the secret realm for him. Lu Yu, maybe he still has a trump card. But thinking of this, Hu Yifeng suddenly shook his head again, feeling a little dazed. Maybe there is a trump card, but it is a king-level beast. Let alone a king-level warrior, even an ordinary king-level warrior cannot be a match for the beast in 1v1. I think too much. The gap between the king level and the peak of the 9th level is wider than that between the 9th level and the 1st level. Within the secret realm, there is a gladiatorial arena. Countless beast tides have all receded. The end of darkness. The footsteps are getting closer. Finally, under Lu Yu's curious and expectant gaze, that huge figure walked out of the darkness. This moment, Lu Yu also saw clearly what this giant beast looked like. That's a statue. A giant cyan wolf that is nearly 200 meters tall and nearly 500 meters long. Its whole body is wrapped in dark blue flames. Wow. Wah wah. The flames rose, and the surrounding air seemed to heat up. Fire attribute. Lu Yu didn't expect it either. The seemingly ordinary Steppenwolf actually awakened a special fire attribute after advancing to the king level. And this green flame, for some reason, reminded Lu Yu of an old friend in a novel he had read in his previous life. Besides, the most special thing is its eyes. It was different from the bloodthirsty and ferocious look in Steppenwolf's eyes before. In the eyes of this king-level giant wolf, Lu Yu could even see humanized hatred. It's like, it hates humans to the core. This kind of hatred is unforgettable, and it seems that even after countless years, it cannot be eliminated. Roar. After the giant cyan wolf appeared, roaring to the sky, the blue sea of fire instantly enveloped an area of several miles in radius. Wherever the flames pass, everything is burned to ashes. Wow. Lu Yu, who was far away from him, could even feel a blazing wave of wind coming towards his face at this moment. The next moment, the huge eyes of the Qingyan giant wolf stared at the 4 huge vortices suspended in the sky. Roar. It opened its mouth and spat out. Endless green flames surged out. Like a rushing river, pouring down into the whirlpool. Click. Caca. Just for a brief moment. The four vortexes that originally strangled an unknown number of people were now faintly hearing cracking sounds. This is a sign that it cannot withstand Qingyan's energy and is about to collapse. This moment, secret inside and outside, especially those students on the Jade Square, their faces all turned pale. Just a breath. In their minds, Lu Yu's nearly invincible black hole vortex was about to shatter. Is this the power of the giant beast? Really, too exaggerated. This moment, unknown how many students exclaimed. At the same time, deep in their hearts, there was even a hint of inexplicable confusion and fear. The power of the giant beast is like a natural disaster. Can Blue Star humans really be able to resist it forever? What will Lu Yu do? Will you give up immediately, or try to resist before giving up? Almost all students have such thoughts in their hearts at this moment. Their eyes all looked towards the sky. Then, they saw. Before the cabin, Lu Yu took half a step back. At the same time, he also took Kwazanti, who was angry and full of fighting spirit, into the beast controlling space. Although, Lu Yu felt that if Kwazanti's combat power was fully activated, he might be able to fight a king-level monster. But, Lu Yu doesn't like close matches. He likes to crush an attack with dimensionality reduction. But this scene, in the eyes of everyone inside and outside the secret, it has another meaning. Really, are Lu Yu ready to give up immediately? Someone recognized Lu Yu's wise and decisive decision. Some people felt sorry for Lu Yu inside. Some people complained that Lu Yu was too cowardly. But the next moment, all these people, all these words, all stuck. Everyone, no matter ordinary students, king-level experts, even martial arts supremes. Everyone has a horrified face at this moment. Inside the arena. Buzz. A slight trembling sound sounded. In front of Lu Yu. A huge figure hundreds of meters tall appeared out of thin air. It's the day Lu Yu's first king-level beast pet officially debuts. My name, Caesar. Now, Caesar's thunderous roar made everyone's hearts tremble violently. Secret inside and outside. With Caesar's appearance, everything fell into a dead silence. Caesar, Star Titan, size, 800 meters. That is, after Caesar shows up. There was even a huge shadow cast in the arena. The originally menacing king-level Qingyan giant wolf could only crawl in the shadow at this moment. The scent of Caesar, so powerful, the Qingyan giant wolf even had the illusion that what he was facing at this moment was a lord-level giant beast. This is true even for king-level giant wolves. Not to mention everyone inside and outside the secret. Now, everyone, regardless of their status, is already stunned. Above the secret realm, above the Jade Square. Now, when many students saw Caesar appearing in front of Lu Yu, their first reaction turned out to be, I am Sao. This level tests more than one giant beast. Yes. The first time, almost all students subconsciously believed that Caesar, who appeared out of thin air, was also part of the beast-tide assessment. After all, that's a giant beast. No matter how hard they try, they can't connect the powerful Caesar and Lu Yu. Caesar, Caesar, what a domineering name, and the aura is terrifying. You still need to look at the aura. You can tell it's terrifyingly strong just by looking at its size. My height is estimated to be around 800, right? I'm so tall. Lu Yu is really in danger now. No, why is he still dumbfounded? Hurry up and run into the safe house to exit. Stop scolding you for being a coward. Quote. On the square, the students were talking and shouting. Only, Zhang Zuying and Qin Xiao, both women had their beautiful eyes widened with shock and numbness on their faces. This moment, Zhang Zuying stared at Caesar's figure in the screen. Deep in her mind, there seemed to be scenes of memories that were about to emerge and overlap with them. This king-level beast, she seems to have seen it before. No, maybe I haven't seen it, but I must have been in contact with it. Because of the sound and size of this giant beast, it always made her feel familiar. When exactly? Zhang Zuying frowned and murmured in a low voice. Suddenly, at a certain moment, her whole body seemed to be struck by lightning, and her delicate body suddenly trembled. She remembered. Final assessment. The giant beast that Father and City Lord Lin once went to encircle and suppress. It sounded exactly the same then as it does now. Zhang Zuying froze on the spot. She recalled what her father had told her as a follow-up. For some reason, the giant beast disappeared. Even her father also jokingly asked Zhang Zuying if she and Lu Yu hid the giant beast. Or maybe Lu Yu is a beast master and he contracted the giant beast as a pet. At that time, Zhang Zuying only thought it was a joke and didn't take it seriously at all. And now, her heart was suddenly clenched tightly, and it seemed difficult to even breathe. Giant beast, contract, pet. Is this your real trump card, Lu Yu? Other side, Qin Shiyao's reaction was not much better than Zhang Zuying's. Just because the Empress Master in her mind had made such a guess long ago. But Qin Shiyao had 10,000 disbeliefs in her heart. No matter how evil Lu Yu is, no matter how defiant he is, he can't really have a king-level monster pet. But now, the facts are right in front of you. The giant beast named Caesar was standing in front of Lu Yu. Teacher, that giant beast was really summoned by Lu Yu, and was it not part of the secret realm beast tide assessment? Qin Shiyao couldn't help but asked again. And in the mind, the Empress' voice sounded extremely lamentable. The teacher will not be mistaken. There is a special spiritual connection between that giant beast and Lu Yu. Perhaps, that is the so-called contract power between beast masters and pets. As soon as this statement came out, Qin Shiyao was completely silent. Her eyes, which were originally like icebergs, were now staring closely at Lu Yu's figure in the screen. At this moment, she suddenly discovered that her cousin, who had never caught colds before, seemed to be the real Qianlong Izubuchi. Compare with that, my own talent, my own reliance. None of it seems worth mentioning. Perhaps Lu Yu is the real protagonist in this world of martial arts. Outside the secret realm, all the king-level powerhouses had already completely exploded because of Caesar's appearance. Their realm and perception are not as powerful as the Empress. And therefore, even Ku Yifeng, the supreme leader of the Black Dragon Army, could not sense the special spiritual connection between Lu Yu and Caesar. Now, almost all strong people subconsciously think that this giant beast that suddenly appeared was part of the beast tide assessment, and it was here to target Lu Yu. This idea, almost no one questions it. Apart from Zhang Zhenmin, and a few kilometers away, Lin Qicheng, eyes wide open. They didn't know Caesar's name. But this look and shape. They will never forget it in their lifetime. The king-level beast, the Starry Sky Titan, was once seriously injured and on the verge of death, but it was still 1 against 5, even causing Lin Qicheng, the peak king-level beast, to lose his entire right leg. Lu Yu, you really did it. Zhang Zhenmin's lips were trembling. On his face, countless emotions are coming one after another. Suddenly, excitement, ecstasy, shock, anticipation. All kinds of emotions, just to name a few. At this moment, Zhang Zhenmin was almost crazy, and all the king-level experts around him were confused. Principal Zhang, Lu Yu encountered the second giant beast and will be eliminated soon. How can you still laugh? There were king-level experts from other cities who couldn't help but asked in confusion. And the words fell. It immediately attracted everyone's attention. Even the martial arts supremes above the sky cast their gazes from a distance. Zhang Zhenmin is Lu Yu's principal, which is no secret in this area. And even those martial arts supremes, they also subconsciously believe that Caesar is part of the beast tide assessment. But Zhang Zhenmin's reaction seems to have another mystery. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. Facing questioning, Zhang Zhenmin didn't say anything. He just looked up to the sky and laughed. His laughter was full of comfort and joy. And the next moment, there is no need to wait for Zhang Zhenmin to explain. Within the secret realm, the new scene caused everyone's brains to shut down at this moment. In front of the duel arena, the extremely huge Caesar appeared and shouted his name. The next moment, it turned around slowly and faced Lu Yu, and then bend one knee and kneel half on the ground. It stretched out its right hand and handed it to Lu Yu. My lord, Caesar fights for you. Rumble. Caesar's words, like thunder, resounded throughout the arena. And Lu Yu, under the dull eyes of everyone inside and outside the secret. He jumped slightly and jumped. He stepped directly on Caesar's huge palm. The next moment, Caesar even raised his hand and put Lu Yu directly on his shoulder. This scene at this moment. Lu Yu and Caesar, humans and giant beasts, stand tall in the sky and the earth, as if frozen forever. My lord, my lord, my lord, this moment, secret inside and outside. Everyone watched this scene. They were completely numb. In their minds, the words Caesar just shouted were echoing over and over again at this moment. My lord, Caesar fights for you, as well as. Now before their eyes, in the live screen of the cyclorama, Lu Yu is standing carelessly on the shoulders of the Titan beast. What you hear, what you see, they all seem to prove an extremely horrifying and exaggerated fact that is even incomprehensible. This new beast named Caesar. Is it Lu Yu's pet? Oh my god, am I crazy, or is the world crazy? Outside the secret realm, someone shouted out of control. And this person is actually a powerful king-level man. In fact, it's not just him. This moment, even the supreme beings in the sky looked at each other with wide eyes and lost the ability to speak. Among them, even Ku Yifeng, the commander of the Xuanlong army who had always had vague expectations for Lu Yu, his body was trembling non-stop. As a Black Dragon army member, he has been dealing with giant beasts all year round. He knows the giant beasts very well. That's why he was even more shocked. Behemoth. It is a natural disaster of this era. And Lu Yu. Can he actually control a giant beast? No, even more exaggerated than driving. Behemoth, let it be your master. Gulu. This moment. Fu Yifeng couldn't hold it back again and swallowed. A trickle of sweat began to appear on his forehead. Within the secret realm, in the arena, the giant Qingyun wolf, which had been lying in the shadow of Caesar, its huge body trembling faintly, suddenly stood up. Its pupils burning with green flames stared at Caesar. The fear before seems to have been completely washed away by anger at this moment. Roar, ho ho. The giant Qingyun wolf looked up to the sky and roared. Among the roars, there was confusion, doubt, hatred, and shame. Orcs, never be slaves. How can a giant beast submit to humans? The next moment, this king-level Qingyun giant wolf actually speaks human words. Before, it originally thought that Caesar was also part of the secret beast-tide assessment. It thought that Caesar, like its tribe, had been captured, suppressed and sealed here by that hateful old man. Although, it was also a little confused as to why it had never seen Caesar in the tens of thousands of years before. But, it made him think twice, but he never imagined that Caesar was the pet of the human being in front of him. You have brought shame to the Beast Clan. You are a disgrace to the Beast Clan. The giant Qingyun wolf roared. This moment, the ultimate anger allowed it to overcome all fears. Its size has actually expanded a bit. Then, wow, wow, dark blue flames filled the sky, surging out. Swish. Immediately afterwards, its huge wolf mouth opened, and it swallowed up all the endless Qingyun. Buzz, buzz, when you open your mouth again. From its mouth, a ball of blue flame light that was extremely bright was already brewing. And, the fluctuations of the fireball are rising like rockets. The scorching temperature seemed to completely burn the surrounding space. Traitor, die, the giant Qingyun wolf roared. All the green energy in its body is gathered on the blue flame light ball in its mouth. Then, spit out. This is its strongest skill. It was also the blow that emptied all its power. Now, after spitting out the ball of light, the aura of the Qingyun giant wolf also declined instantly, and it was a little reluctant to even stay standing. But, the eyes of Qingyan giant wolf are full of confidence. This is the most powerful skill it awakens after advancing to the king level. The power of this charged attack is enough to cross levels and fight against mid-level king-level monsters. Yes, Qingyan giant wolf knew very well that he was no match for Caesar. But even so, it also wants Caesar to be injured, make him bleed, and let him know the price of betraying the Behemoth clan. Swish, swish, the cyan flame light ball is extremely fast. And, after being spit out, it immediately rises in the storm. In just one breath, he appeared directly in front of Lu Yu and Caesar. The size of the cyan flame light ball has now expanded to nearly 1,000 meters. This is a devastating blow. Outside the secret realm, all the king-level experts were sweating profusely when they looked at this scene. This blow, I can't take it, a strong man in the mid-level king level shouted lowly. The strong men in the early stage of the king level have long been silent. Under this blow, they will be wiped out with no bones left. And the strong men at the late king level and at the peak all have solemn expressions at this moment. Under this blow, I will be seriously injured or even close to death. And above the sky, several martial arts supremes looked at this scene with solemn expressions. Various thoughts kept spinning in their hearts. How will Lu Yu, this giant beast, pet, deal with it? You should be able to handle the mid-king level realm, right? But it's also very likely that you'll get injured. Lu Yu was too careless. He shouldn't have let the giant Qingyan wolf fully charge up to complete this attack. Several supreme beings commented secretly in their hearts. And the next moment, they found, their respective evaluations and speculations seemed to have become clown behavior. Inside the arena, Lu Yu stood on Caesar's shoulder, quietly looking at the huge cyan flame light ball roaring in front of him. 1,000 meters in diameter, almost covering Lu Yu's entire field of vision. Lu Yu didn't panic. At this moment, he has already shared 60% of Caesar's entire realm strength. Moreover, there is also a 50% damage transfer talent. Therefore, Lu Yu was not worried about his own safety. As for why we should stand on Caesar's shoulders, certainly, it's just to show off. Could it be possible to stand in the cabin and watch Caesar fight from a distance like everyone else? So no sense of participation. Lu Yu said, beast masters are meant to fight side by side with pet beasts. Caesar, above the shoulders, Lu Yu saw Caesar standing there, silently watching the flaming ball of light approaching, but making no move, so he couldn't help but call out softly. The words fell. Caesar's thunderous voice sounded in his heart. My lord, I'm learning your style. If you don't make a sound, it will be a blockbuster. Lu Yu, good, good, that's how you play, right? If you don't learn from the good stuff, why should you learn to show off? And the next moment, finally, the flaming light ball with a diameter of 1,000 meters came from the Qingyan giant wolf's full power attack and came to Caesar. Then, no extra moves. Caesar raised his right hand. Fingers clenched into fists. Then, swing forward gently. The movement of this fist was like cotton, with almost no sense of power. But, it was such a light punch. When it falls on the cyan ball of light. Boom, bang, the cyan flame ball of light, which was originally extremely powerful, exploded instantly and turned into fireworks all over the sky. One punch. Caesar only used one punch. Directly blasted the king-level Qingyan giant wolf's full blow into fireworks. This moment, in the distance, the giant Qingyan wolf, half of its body already hidden in the darkness, froze. It raised its head blankly, its huge blue pupils filled with daze. A full blow of his own, a charged blow that drained his energy. That's it. Turn into fireworks, logically speaking. The energy of this blow is enough to burn the flesh and blood of an ordinary king-level beast. In the imagination of Qingyan giant wolf, even if Caesar can take this blow, he will definitely be burned by the green flame and his body will be injured. But now, the Qingyan giant wolf opened its pupils wide. It sees. The dark blue flames indeed fell on Caesar's huge body. Then, there is no more. The extremely hot Qingyan, after touching Caesar's body, only stirred up a tiny spark and then went out. This moment, the Tao heart of the Qingyan giant wolf was shattered by a punch together with the flaming ball of light. Buzz. In front of the Qingyan giant wolf. A burst of space fluctuations suddenly came out. Distance. Caesar's 800-meter tall body disappeared out of thin air. And in the sight of the Qingyan giant wolf, an extremely huge fist is rapidly enlarging. Bang. It was like fireworks exploding, resounding throughout the secret realm. But the difference is, this fireworks is the scarlet color of flesh and blood. It is extremely gorgeous, but it also symbolizes the coming of death. And the last moment in Qingyan giant wolf's consciousness. It heard Caesar's thundering voice, ringing out in a tone that seemed to be asking for credit. My lord, do you like these fireworks? This moment. The Qingyan giant wolf wishes he could live and die again. In the secret arena, Caesar's huge body stood tall. It slowly retracted its fist. And in midair, after the bloody fireworks, the king-level Qingyan giant wolf, which was 200 meters tall and nearly 500 meters long, disappeared. It turned into fireworks that filled the sky and dissipated in this world. Wow! Crash! This moment, in the arena, there was even a steady rain of blood. In midair, A giant beast core that was faintly burning with dark cyan flames was floating quietly. Good. Lu Yu looked at this scene and praised it. On the one hand, Caesar's combat power is indeed beyond imagination. On the other hand, killing a king-level behemoth can really drop the behemoth core. The core of a king-level beast is much more precious than the core of a beast. As long as we kill enough king-level beasts, not only is Quizante's probability of advancing to the king level greatly increased, the excess can also be used to improve Caesar's realm. Lu Yu was thinking in his mind. And secret inside and outside. At this moment, there was total silence. A long time. I don't know how much time passed. Finally, there were gasps of cold air one after another. This moment, no matter whether it is a student genius or a king-level expert, they can only express their feelings at the moment in this most primitive way. Speech. There are no words to describe it. Who could have imagined? I originally thought it was a scene of king-level giant beasts fighting each other, interacting with each other, and dragons and tigers fighting, but the result. 2 punches. Caesar only used 2 punches. 2 fireworks were set off in the arena. The battle is over. From beginning to end, Caesar doesn't even look like he's taking it seriously. Its punches look extremely casual. Is Lu Yu, this giant beast pet, really just a king? How come it feels like an adult beating a child when it beats the king-level Qingyan giant wolf? No, it's even more exaggerated than that. Secret inside and outside. After a long time, finally someone couldn't help but sigh. But the others had no time to respond. Because in the arena, Lu Yu had just received and put away the cyan giant beast core. Boom, 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 rumble, one after another, extremely dense and loud noises suddenly sounded. In the dark, one after another, huge figures slowly emerged. The king-level beast comes again. And this time, the number is beyond everyone's imagination. 1, 2, 3, 4, 15. Good guy. 15 king-level behemoths coming at once. Above the Jade Square, many students were in an uproar when they looked at the pictures on the sky screen projection. And outside the secret realm, many powerful men looked at this scene and were stunned for a moment, then they all frowned. Above the sky, the expressions on the faces of several martial arts supremes were even more ugly. Lu Yu, it seems to be targeted by the rules of the secret realm. How could the intensity of this beast-type assessment be so exaggerated? In an instant, I jumped directly from 1 king-level beast to 15. And the giant wolf before was at the early king level, but now these 15 are all at the middle king level. Kai Zhongyan, the supreme master of Qinglong Martial Arts Academy, frowned and spoke in a deep voice. For so many years, he has seen many provincial examination secret realms, large and small. I also roughly know the difficulty and rules of this kind of secret realm. Logically speaking, the difficulty of any secret realm assessment is gradual. But the situation Lu Yu is encountering now, it seems to be skipping a level quickly. Perhaps the rules of the secret realm detected Lu Yu's alternative giant beast pet, and the difficulty began to increase significantly. Inside the arena, roar, ho ho, 15 giant wolf-shaped beasts came from all directions, stepping on steps like heavy hammers. It is different from the previous Qingyan giant wolf. These 15 mid-level king-level giant beasts are burning with crimson flames all over their bodies. Red Flame Giant Wolf, Lu Yu muttered and picked a name. After Caesar saw these 15 giant beasts, his seemingly honest face finally showed a smile. My lord, the little wolf before was too weak. Now I feel it's a bit interesting. After Lu Yu heard this, his head was full of black lines. What the hell? Where did you learn all those pretentious quotes? My lord, what do you think of the fireworks just now? I can put a few more for you. Caesar seemed to be in high spirits now, and became more and more excited as he talked. The next moment, bang, 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 it even beat its chest with its huge fists in excitement, making a loud noise. Roar, ho ho, in all directions, a total of 15 giant red wolves looked up to the sky and howled. Their red eyes are full of hatred and anger. Until now, the air was still filled with a strong smell of blood. And this aura comes from their own kind. Behemoth traitor. Die. Lu Yu and Caesar were directly in front. The largest one, nearly 500 meters tall and 700 meters long, spoke human words and roared. Die. At the same time, the other 14 red-flamed giant wolves all followed suit and roared to the sky. Wow, wow, the crimson flames swept out, turning almost the entire arena into a sea of dark red fire. And Lu Yu and Caesar were in the center of the sea of fire. Snort. Noisy. Caesar snorted heavily as white air came out of his nose. The next moment, it made fists with both hands. Caca. There was a crackling sound between the knuckles. Then, under the horrified gaze of a group of giant beasts and everyone inside and outside the secret, Caesar's size began to increase dramatically. 800 meters, 1,000 meters, 1,500 meters, 2,000 meters. Boom, rumble, the whole secret realm was roaring. After a few breaths, Caesar's body shape is fixed at a height of 3,000 meters. At this moment, he is the size of a fist and hundreds of meters in diameter. And it lowered its head and looked at the 15 red-flamed giant wolves at its feet with an almost overlooking gaze. Caesar's face showed a cruel and silly smile. And above the shoulders, Lu Yu crossed his arms, with a warm and gentle smile on his delicate face. Do you like to bully the minority? Then we have no choice but to use the big to bully the small. The fireworks are about to start. This look, this gesture. Everyone inside and outside the secret twitched at the corners of their mouths. This is Lu Yu, a real villain. That was the most gorgeous fireworks I have ever seen in my life. Many years later, an octogenarian recalled the scene he saw in the secret realm, and his wrinkled face still showed unspeakable shock. What a firework that is! Fire red gorgeous, everyone is the fall of a king-level beast. In the secret realm, inside the arena, bang, bang. There was a loud bang of thunder, one after another. Caesar's huge body of 3,000 meters was constantly shuttling and jumping in the space. Like a flexible fat man weighing nearly 10,000 tons. Bang, another punch. Another giant red wolf turned into blood mist all over the sky. Yes, it's blood mist, not flesh and blood. After Caesar activates his doubling talent, it's not just his size that increases, his strength also increases geometrically. Just like this moment, a random punch from it can easily break tens of millions of pounds. Power, the simplest and most primitive energy in the world. After reaching the extreme, it possesses terrifying and destructive power beyond all others. Just like this moment, the red-flamed giant wolf, which was hundreds of meters long, lost all its flesh and blood after Caesar's punch, and its bones turned into fragments inch by inch, falling into the sky. Roar, ho ho. The remaining red-flamed giant wolves kept roaring. On their huge faces, there is anger at this moment, and there is even more fear that cannot go away. In just a few breaths, Caesar, this extremely terrifying beast, punched 7 times in total. 7 punches, 7 red-flamed giant wolves, 7 blood-red fireworks. Traitor, die. At last, the leader, the largest red-flamed giant wolf, looked up to the sky and roared. With red flames burning all over his body, he rushed towards Caesar. The remaining 7 giant wolves finally defeated the fear in their hearts at this moment, roared and rushed towards Caesar. From all directions, 8 king-level giant wolves are attacking at the same time. Outside the secret realm, many strong men were stunned for a moment when they saw this scene, and then they came to their senses. The scarlet flame giant wolf saw Caesar's ability to travel through space. They want to block it. Within the secret realm, Lu Yu, who was on Caesar's shoulder, smiled slightly at this moment. Siege and blockade, isn't it, delivered to your door? This moment, faced with the siege of 10 king-level beasts of the same realm, Caesar not only refused to evade, but excitedly beat his chest and shouted. Come on, buzz. All over its body, muscle lines like the veins of mountains emerge one after another. This scene is extremely magical. It looks like. It's like ancient runes awakening. And Caesar has thousands of such runes on his body. Buzz, buzz. Whenever a line lights up, Caesar's power becomes stronger. Every time a rune awakens, Caesar's aura becomes more terrifying. Until, on Caesar's right arm, all textures are bright. This moment, its entire right arm is as bright as the blazing sun. Ha! Caesar roared excitedly. He clenched his right fist hard in the air. Click. This moment, I could faintly see that the surrounding space began to fluctuate in chaos. Wow, crash. It's too late to say it, but it will be soon. A total of 8 giant red wolves had already rushed in front of Caesar. Although, with their size, they can only reach Caesar's knees. But these scarlet flame giant wolves seemed to be risking everything, and they even began to burn their own giant beast cores to obtain more powerful power. And all this is to leave even a little bit of injury on Caesar's body. Thereby, let the descendants of the same clan have a chance to defeat this terrifying beast. What a pity, they still think too much and are too naive. Buzz. Caesar punches. The weird thing is, it was different from the previous 7 punches. This time when it punched, there was no sonic boom or loud noise in the air. Instead, there was silence. There is only the trembling fluctuation of space, like a silent storm, a roaring mountain and a tsunami. To the end, when Caesar's punch was fully swung. Bang! Finally, the silence is broken. The fist is at the front. The space began to shatter inch by inch, visible to the naked eye. Caesar's punch shattered the space barrier. Outside the secret realm. Not to mention a king-level powerhouse. Even the martial arts supremes in the sky were all dumbfounded. Shattered space. This is at least something only a saint-level powerhouse can do. Everyone in Kai Zhongyan was dumbfounded. As a peak supreme being, it is impossible for him to achieve such an exaggerated effect even with a full blow. And the true state of Lu Yu's pet beast. It's only the midterm king level. Did this punch reach the holy level? No, it's impossible. Saint level can affect the world, but this punch has not reached that level yet. Kai Zhongyan asked and answered questions and kept talking. But to make a peak martial arts master lose his temper to such an extent. But it also shows how exaggerated Caesar's punch was. Inside the arena, when Caesar punches down, the space in all directions began to collapse inch by inch. The void but sharp space fragments are wreaking havoc, strangling everything within a radius of dozens of miles. Roar! Ho ho! The 8 red-flamed giant wolves roared with anger and fear. But it's of no use. They didn't even touch a hair on Caesar's body, and were just strangled by countless space debris into a bloody mist. My lord, this is what I just thought of, a new way to set off fireworks. Caesar retracted his fist and spoke angrily. Above the shoulders. The corners of Lu Yu's mouth twitched slightly. Why does he feel that Caesar seems to be on this road of pretense and will never return? Buzz. Buzz. 8 fireworks, extremely gorgeous. There was no explosion, only the soft groan of space strangulation. A long time passed. Buzz. Buzz. The space with a radius of 10 miles began to slowly return to stability. And in midair, neatly, there are 15 red behemoth cores floating. Good. Lu Yu gave a soft compliment and prepared to let Caesar travel through the void to get back the loot. But that is this moment. Boom. Rumble. The entire secret realm suddenly began to tremble violently. In the arena, the ground, which was originally so solid that even Caesar's punch just failed to break, actually had cracks. Swish. In midair, the 15 giant beast cores that were originally floating were heading towards the darkness in the distance as if they were traveling through space. Lu Yu was stunned at first, and then became furious. And the next moment, ouch! Roar. In the dark. There were endless roars that seemed to be extremely painful. This sound, they all seemed to come from king-level giant wolves. From a rough listen, there are at least dozens of them. And the weird thing is, these giant wolves seemed to be suffering from unimaginable pain. The screams continued for an unknown amount of time. Until, in the arena, silence returned once again. Boom, dong dong. A loud sound like a heavy hammer came from afar in the darkness. The entire secret realm seemed to be trembling faintly at this moment. This sound, it's not footsteps, it's heartbeat. The sound of the beating heart shook the entire secret realm. The ultimate boss of the endless beast tide. Over Caesar's shoulders. Lu Yu squinted slightly and looked at the huge figure emerging from the darkness. In the dark, under Lu Yu's curious gaze, a giant beast with an extremely strange appearance, which could even be called weird, slowly walked out. Boom, dong dong. The loud beating of its heart resounded throughout the arena. And secret inside and outside. The moment everyone saw this mysterious beast, their eyes widened and they were stunned for a moment. What a weird beast. Its height is more than 3,000 meters. And body type, it even reached an exaggerated 5,000 meters. At a glance, it seems that it is not a giant beast, but a moving mountain range. To know. Divided according to normal body shape. King-level behemoths usually range from 100 meters to 1,000 meters. The size of a Zune-level giant beast is between 1,000 and 5,000 meters. If you just look at body shape, this giant beast has reached the level of respectability. But several supreme figures from the 4 major martial arts schools came to their final conclusion after observing for a moment. The pinnacle of king level. It's not completely at the level of respectable level yet. Maybe it can be called half-step to the level of respectable level. After all, the formation of this giant beast seems to be extremely weird. As Kai Zhongyan spoke, he carefully looked at the giant beast in the picture. The most special thing about it, besides its size, is its head. It has dozens of heads all over its body. At first glance, it even looks a bit creepy. And these heads, every one of them looks like a giant red wolf. Relating the previous screams in the darkness and the sudden disappearance of the giant beast's core, Kai Zhongyan suddenly thought of a possibility. Could it be, this behemoth is a forcibly created product by combining dozens of king-level behemoths with the rules of the secret realm? Boom, dong dong. In the vast arena, Caesar crossed his arms and looked at the mysterious beast walking towards him step by step, getting closer and closer. You are so ugly, Caesar suddenly said this. All of a sudden, the footsteps of the mysterious giant beast paused slightly. And secret inside and outside, everyone was stunned and stunned. Good guy, it's about time. He has a body of more than 3,000 meters, so many heads, and the aura of a king-level peak. Just by looking at it, you can tell that it is terrifyingly strong. Caesar suddenly said this. The originally tense atmosphere became a bit strange. In fact, Caesar's words seemed to really provoke this mysterious beast. It stopped, raised its head, and looked at Caesar. Now, at 3,000 meters tall, it was almost eye level with Caesar, and even slightly taller by dozens of meters. The mysterious giant beast didn't speak or roar. It doesn't seem to have these capabilities. The eyes on the dozens of heads all over its body are also lifeless, like a puppet. But it knows how to kill. Just like this moment. Buzz, buzz. Without a word, it started to accumulate power. Wow, red flames suddenly rose from its feet. In an instant, its entire huge body was completely wrapped in flames, like a mythical beast stepping on a sea of fire. Buzz, buzz. Extremely exaggerated energy fluctuations spread out from its body. And the intensity of energy is still increasing every moment. Obviously, even if it is blended into a deformed monster, its ability is still similar to the previous scarlet flame giant wolf, which is to charge up and emit a ball of flame light. Caesar, on the other hand, stared at the giant beast and looked it up and down for a while. He shook his huge head. I really think you are so ugly. The words fell. Buzz, buzz. The aura fluctuations on the mysterious giant beast have increased again. Faintly, it seems that you can still hear a sizzling sound in the air. The space is faintly burning. Obviously, quantitative changes lead to qualitative changes. The power of the mysterious giant beast's Kai Yan skill is beyond imagination. Until now, Caesar's face finally showed a somewhat serious look. It made a fist. Kaka. There was a loud crackling sound in the arena. You are very big, but I can be bigger. A smile appeared on Caesar's honest face. The next moment, under the numb gaze of everyone inside and outside the secret, Caesar's size, which was already 3,000 meters tall, began to skyrocket again. 3,000 meters, 3,500 meters, 4,000 meters, 4,500 meters. This time, Caesar grew to a size of 5,000 meters before finally stopping. For Caesar, the bigger the body, the greater the strength and the stronger the combat power. The ugly giant beast in front of me may be a little reluctant to meet the challenge with its size of 3,000 meters. But for 5,000 meters, it's so easy, ha! This time, Caesar was not so arrogant as to wait for this mysterious behemoth to truly complete its charge. Buzz. Space fluctuations spread. Its extremely huge figure disappeared on the spot. When it reappears, already standing in front of the mysterious and deformed giant beast. Buzz. Caesar punches. This moment, the lines all over his body, not just his right arm, were completely lit up. Even the right half of the upper body is flashing with lines, as bright as day. This moment, Caesar stood there, like a giant of light with half of his body lit up. This moment, Caesar pumped his fist. Wherever the fist wind passes, the space begins to collapse inch by inch. My lord, the biggest fireworks are coming, Caesar shouted. A fist with a diameter of several hundred meters, wrapped in an endless space storm, fell silently on the deformed beast. Buzz, buzz, inside the giant beast. Then a brilliant crimson flame burst out. A ball of light, like a bright sun, suddenly appeared in front of Caesar's fist. But, click, the stalemate lasted only a moment. The ball of light shattered instantly. Bang, in this dark arena. Now, the most gorgeous and grandest fireworks bloomed today. The deformed beast is dead. It was a very frustrating death. As the big boss of the endless beast tide, it has not even appeared on the scene for a long time before the first green flame giant wolf. It has only just made its debut. Then Caesar, who was 5,000 meters away, blasted him into a sky full of fireworks with a spatial strangulation punch. At the same time, there were also dozens of king-level beast cores left in midair. It's just a shame. Among the cores of these behemoths, the highest ones are only at the late king level, and there is no peak king level. Lu Yu put away the trophies and smacked his lips. Buzz. This is also the moment. Above the arena. Over Jade Square. Over the outer area of the secret realm. At the same time, a projection light curtain emerged. Above the light curtain, a few lines of text appeared. Congratulations to the examiner, Lu Yu, for clearing the endless beast tide. The second level of the beast tide assessment is officially over. Start settling rewards. It's over. It's finally over. Above the Jade Square, when all the students saw the light curtain, they were stunned at first, and then they all felt relieved and breathed a long sigh of relief. Why are you relieved? Because they think, if there is a boss in the endless beast tide, maybe Lu Yu can also pull out some trump cards. His pet giant beast named Caesar can only grow up to 5,000 meters in size. Many students don't dare to think about the answer to this question. The more I think about it, the more I feel trembling. To know, Lu Yu is their peer. But in the blink of an eye, they all got together with a group of king-level beasts. And what about them? Not to mention doing it, even looking at the king-level beast from a distance, I am still afraid. The gap is like cloud mud. Before, I was testing my strength with Lu Yu in this square, but now, suddenly realized that we have never been in the same world. Some students stared at the final assessment rankings that began to appear on the skyline, muttering to themselves. The final ranking is determined based on the summary of all results from the beast tide assessment over so many days. Certainly, it only includes students who persisted for at least 3 days, which are the hundreds of students standing in Jade Square now. Only, the first ranking has lost any suspense. Besides Lu Yu, who else could be there? First place, Lu Yu. Assessment Evaluation, SSS. He achieved all the best results in the beast tide assessment, refreshed the historical record of the list many times, and became the first assessor to pass the endless beast tide since the opening of the Scarlet Flame Sect Secret Realm. Reward, Key 3. Reward, Elemental Crystal 100. Reward, Top Quality Source Crystal 1000. Reward, Heaven Level Low Grade Martial Arts 1. Reward, Open the Authority of Tianjin Tower. Second place, Shen Tianzong. Assessment Evaluation, A. Rewards, Top Quality Source Crystal 1, Elemental Crystal 1, Earth Level Low Grade Martial Skill 1. Third place, Li Weiner. Assessment Evaluation, A. Rewards, Top Quality Source Crystal 1, Elemental Crystal 1, Earth Level Low Grade Martial Skill 1. Above the sky, lines of text information emerged. One by one, extremely eye-catching precious resources appear. But, whether it was Shen Tianzong who ranked second or Li Weiner who ranked third, they couldn't laugh when they looked at the top-quality source crystals and elemental crystals in their hands. It stands to reason. They should be happy. After all, resources like this are very precious among the 3 major families in Jinling. But, compared with the rewards Lu Yu received, they felt like beggars. It's so annoying. I want to rob that stinky man. Li Weiner muttered angrily, but recalling the thousands-meter-tall Caesar in the previous picture, she pouted and her muttering voice subconsciously lowered her voice. She was afraid that if Lu Yu heard it, she would be set off like a firework by Caesar. Lu Yu was still in the arena. The rules of the secret realm did not teleport him back to the Jade Square. Now, in front of him, there were pieces of top-quality source crystals and pieces of elemental crystals suspended. All of a sudden, even a little dazzling, meow, in the beast-controlling space. When Kwazanti saw this scene, he kept screaming. At the corners of its mouth, saliva spread crazily. Elemental crystallization. It is so greedy. And next to Lu Yu, Caesar stood silent. His size has shrunk to only 8 meters in height. Caesar's doubling talent will increase as the level increases, but currently it seems that shrinking 100 times is the limit. Gulu. In the quiet arena, suddenly there was a sound of swallowing. Lu Yu turned around and looked. Caesar. He had tried very hard to restrain himself. But those top-quality source crystals, as well as the previous king-level beast cores, really smell good. I want to become stronger so that I can better protect my master. Caesar was stared at by Lu Yu, with a bit of embarrassment on his honest face. After hemming and hawing for a long time, I finally came up with this sentence. When Lu Yu saw this, he shook his head and laughed. You guys, don't worry. Of course these resources are used to train you. You are strong so that I can be strong. Lu Yu finished speaking. Caesar nodded his huge head and finally dared to turn his head, staring directly at the thousands of top-quality source crystals in the air. Just watched it for a while. It couldn't hold it back and stretched out its hand to wipe its saliva. Swish. Lu Yu simply waved his hand and took Caesar directly into the beast control space. Received at the same time. There is also a large area of precious resources floating in front of you. The best source crystal, elemental crystal, and the core of a king-level beast. Lu Yu directly activated part of the source crystal's transformation talent, turning it into pure and rich beast-controlling power for Caesar and Kwazanti to absorb. The element crystals remain as they are, allowing Kwazanti to absorb them on their own. The core of the giant beast has not been transformed and is temporarily stored in the beast control space. Talk about it. This is what Lu Yu discovered recently. Energy resources can be stored in the beast control space, but other items cannot. After handling the loot, Lu Yu took a long breath. He reached out and grabbed the 3 keys floating in front of him. Counting the 5 already obtained, there are 8 keys in total. Only 8. Where did the 9th key go? Lu Yu frowned and looked at the sky above his head. Is there a 3rd level of assessment? And the next moment, as if echoing his thoughts, on top of the cyclorama projections everywhere. Following the ranking list, new text information finally emerged. The main hall of the Red Flame sect is about to open. All examinees who meet the requirements will be transferred soon. The main hall of the Red Flame sect contains the greatest opportunity in the secret realm. Anyone who persists in the 2nd stage of the Beast Tide assessment for more than 3 days will be deemed to have met the requirements. After this information was released, above the Jade Square, hundreds of students suddenly burst into cheers. And Lu Yu was far away in the arena. But suddenly he found the 8 keys on his body, and at this moment, he started to vibrate inexplicably. Just like what happened a few days ago. Lu Yu suddenly felt a trance in front of his eyes. A blurry scene appeared faintly. That's an old man. An old man with red hair and a messy appearance. 20,000 years. Hunter, you are finally here. When the 8 keys moved, an illusory picture appeared in front of Lu Yu again. The deepest part of the secret realm. A deserted place. On top of the sky-suppressing tower standing in the void, bursts of loud noises erupted. Boom, rumble, to be precise. The source of the loud noise was the last few giant towers. The heads in the 5 sky-suppressing towers at the front have all awakened. Boss, golden head. The 2nd child, blue head. The 3rd child has a blue head. 4th child, red head. Lao Wu, brown head. The 5 heads are all emitting strong elemental tidal fluctuations at this moment. Wow, wow. The area within a radius of thousands of miles was almost completely submerged by the 5-color wave. If anyone is here, you will be able to keenly discover. This 5-color head corresponds to the 5 basic elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. In other words, these 5 heads each control 5 ultimate elemental powers. Boss, Xiaolu, Xiaoqi and Xiaoba seem to be waking up too. The rough and fiery voice of the 4th child rumbled in the void. It controls the ultimate power of fire and has the most impetuous personality among the 9 brothers. Now, after seeing the rune marks on the 6th, 7th, and 8th third giant towers beginning to revive, the 4th child was the first to lose his composure. To know, counting the 5 of them, 8 of the 9 brothers have awakened in a short period of time. Only Xiaoju is missing, and all 9 brothers will wake up. But if that's the case, this is definitely not good news for them. 120,000 years ago, Old Man Yan suppressed and sealed them here just for that day. Don't panic. In panic, the boss finally spoke. Buzz. In the void, the power of the ultimate gold element condensed into a huge head. The boss's face didn't look very good at the moment. But as the eldest brother among the 9 brothers, he needs it most at this time to stabilize military morale. Don't worry, although there is only one step between 8 and 9, it is actually as difficult as a chasm. The once evil human genius Dongfang Ao, even if he awakened our 8 brothers, didn't he still fail in the end? Besides, others don't know how powerful Xiaoju is and how difficult it is to wake up. Haven't you counted? The boss spoke eloquently. Only when the last sentence was spoken, did the other brothers wake up from a dream and react. Xiaoju. He is the last among the 9 brothers, but he is the most powerful, mysterious and terrifying one. To some extent, if Xiaoju wakes up completely, the 8 brothers combined may not be its opponent. It controls, but it is the most mysterious, strange and terrifying power in the world. Boom, rumble, in the boundless void, the 3 giant towers finally woke up completely. The extremely terrifying power swept out, even causing the 5 brothers' elemental waves to tremble. On the 6th giant tower, endless strong winds spread. On the 7th giant tower, various colors of thunder flashed. And the most special thing is the 8th giant tower. Around it, the endless space is chaotic, intertwined, collapsed and reorganized. Having been asleep for thousands of years, Xiaoba's space power seems to have become a little stronger. The golden-headed boss looked at this scene and sighed. The 9 brothers have been sealed and suppressed here for more than 120,000 years. Over the long years, their respective strengths have been constantly being eroded and absorbed. To this day, there is only a trace of original power left. Only Xiaoba, who is in charge of the power of the ultimate space, can continuously absorb the power of the void to restore himself in this endless void. And therefore, now among the 9 brothers, apart from Xiaoju who has not yet awakened, I am afraid that the strongest one is Xiaoba. Brother, brother, brother. The 3 brothers who woke up at the same time immediately looked at the golden head in the void with their huge heads. This moment, the 8 brothers gathered together again after thousands of years. However, there was not much excitement on their faces, instead they all had a faint look of worry. Xiaoju, it shouldn't be possible to wake up, right? The eyes of the 8 brothers all looked at the silent Tianjin Tower at the end. On that giant tower, the rune marks are the most complicated and mysterious, and the seal's suppression power is also the most terrifying. And therefore, the awakening of the 9th giant tower is the most difficult. Don't worry, this kind of sealing power cannot be awakened by a simple key. Even if the human really gets the 9th key, it's definitely not that easy to revive Xiaoju. Unless, Old Man Yan has come in person. But that is absolutely impossible. He went to the Starry Sky battlefield 120,000 years ago. The boss with the golden head comforted the other 7 brothers with his vows. Rumble. In the void, it keeps trembling and spreading. After hearing this, the 8 brothers thought for a while and nodded their heads in unison. Brother is right. I believe in you, brother. Since it's the big brother who said it, it can't be wrong. In the secret realm, inside the arena, the illusory scene in front of Lu Yu's eyes just flashed away. He couldn't even see clearly what the old man looked like. The only thing that impressed me, it was his messy fiery red hair. 20,000 years. Wait for me. Lu Yu frowned slightly and murmured. Not long ago, the mysterious god of war also said something very similar, saying that he was waiting for him. The god of martial arts is waiting for me because he hopes that I will embark on the path of martial arts. I don't know what this old man is thinking. Does he also want me to give up my career as a beast master? You won't get such a vulgar script, right? Lu Yu muttered a few words to himself. Buzz. Inexplicable spatial fluctuations suddenly spread around him. Lu Yu was slightly startled. The next moment, his figure has disappeared on the spot. And at the same time, above the Jade Square, the hundreds of students who were still chattering about the Beast Tide test and Lu Yu all disappeared at the same time. The teleportation to the Scarlet Flame sect's main hall has been started. This moment, in everyone's mind, the reminder sound from the rules of the secret realm rang out in unison. Coming, ha ha ha, it's finally here. I wonder what kind of opportunities there might be. There won't be any assessments or something, right? Finally I can see that stinky man. Quote. Space teleportation is only momentary. The next moment, hundreds of students found themselves standing in a magnificent hall. The main hall of the Red Flame sect. This secret place is a real place of opportunity. Many students were stunned at first, and then they all showed excited and ecstatic smiles. But the next moment, buzz, space fluctuations spread. In front of everyone, a tall and straight young figure emerged. This moment, the originally noisy crowd suddenly fell silent. Lu Yu. Everyone looked at the familiar but unfamiliar figure in front of them. For some reason, they all held their breath for a moment, not even daring to say a single word. Within the main hall, when Lu Yu appeared, there were hundreds of students, and there was dead silence. They stared closely at the back figure. In the sight, full of awe, yes, in awe. Just a moment ago, they saw with their own eyes Lu Yu's pet beasts in the sky screen, setting off the king-level beasts like fireworks one after another. No matter how arrogant these student geniuses present are, they dare not say they can compare to a king-level beast. So, as long as Lu Yu wants to, in theory, Caesar can set them off as fireworks at any time. Think of that scene. Many students looked a little pale. The silence lasted for a long time. Until, Gulu. In the crowd, there were faint sounds of swallowing saliva. Interesting thing, the students who swallowed their saliva were also the ones who had called Lu Yu the loudest before. In front of the crowd. Lu Yu stared at the scene in front of him for a while and waited for another long time. Result, Zhang Zuying and others were not seen either. Didn't I teleport to the same place with them? Lu Yu was a little puzzled. Then he heard the sound of swallowing behind him and turned around. Until now, only then did he see clearly that there were hundreds of talented students standing behind him. I am Sao, why don't you make any sound? Lu Yu was shocked after seeing these people. What the hell, there are more than 100 people who are silent. It's a bit weird, isn't it? And just as Lu Yu finished speaking, an even weirder scene appeared. The crowd that was dead silent just a second suddenly began to make noise. Hey, hello, old classmate, long time no see. Ah, yes, old classmate, Gao sang, the sun is shining brightly today. That's right, it's sunny and turning cloudy, it's the perfect time to lay under the quilt. Ah, abba, quote. After Lu Yu finished speaking, these hundreds of talented students were so frightened that they staged an awkward chat show on the spot. If you have something to say, feel free to say it. If you have nothing to say, just find something to say. Anyway, the main focus is to make a sound. No matter what nonsense you are talking about, just speak out. Lu Yu, outside the secret realm, when the king-level experts saw this scene, their mouths twitched. A moment ago, many of them are still complacent that their students have entered the land of ultimate opportunity. And now, seeing the unsatisfactory performance of their students Tianzhao, the faces of these king-level experts were filled with heat and panic. Ahem, well, this is actually understandable. After all, the strength shown by Lu Yu is too exaggerated. It is normal for these students to be stressed. The awkward atmosphere didn't last long. Immediately, a king-level expert came to explain. Only, having said that, but looking at the scene on the sky screen, where the group of students were chatting awkwardly while carefully peeking at Lu Yu's reaction, many king-level experts still felt their hearts twitching. Those who can enter the main hall of the Scarlet Flame sect are all the most prodigious among the prodigies. But in front of Lu Yu, now it seems like all I have to do is pretend to be a grandson. There is also a gap between the geniuses. Above the sky, Kai Zhongyan, the supreme master of Qinglong Martial Academy, sighed. The words just fell. The female supreme from Zouk Martial Academy said quietly. Tianzhao, How can there be a 7th level genius like Lu Yu who can defeat a king level beast? He is a different kind that cannot be fathomed. Finished. The female supreme glanced at Kai Zongyan, who was slightly stunned. Her thoughts quietly touched the communication jade pendant hanging around her neck. Dean, how long until it arrives? The secret realm is about to end, Lu Yu will be out soon. And the other side, Kai Zongyan seemed stunned. Actually, also secretly using props to communicate with the Dean of Qinglong Martial Academy. Dean, come on, be sure to be the first to arrive and snatch Lu Yu away quickly. And not far behind the two of them, the supreme masters of Xuanwu and Baihu looked at each other and took half a step back in tacit agreement. Master Dean, move quickly. Dean, where are you? Above the sky, in the distance, Hu Yifeng, the commander of the Black Dragon Army, stood alone in the sky. When he saw this scene, there was a bit of disdain and a sneer on his face. Then, he pressed the Black Dragon Army communication ring on his wrist with a natural and smooth movement. Boss, someone wants to steal people from our Black Dragon Army. Come on, come on, come on. Within the secret realm, the main hall of Qian sect, Lu Yu looked at the group of talented students in front of him who had nothing to say and forced themselves to chat awkwardly, and shook his head helplessly. Well, invincibility is a kind of loneliness. Lu Yu. Congratulations, you won the first place in the Beast Tide assessment. Just when Lu Yu was sighing alone, in the crowd, finally a beautiful figure emerged. Zhang Zuying took small steps and came to Lu Yu, with a heartfelt smile of joy on her face. 2 small dimples appeared on her pretty face. When Lu Yu saw this, he couldn't hold it back and kneaded it gently with his hands. Zhang Zuying's face turned slightly red, but she let Lu Yu go. Well, should I come back later? Just then, a slightly sour and cold female voice sounded. Lu Yu raised his head and realized it. Qin Xiao didn't know when she was standing in front of her. Her delicate face, which had always been as cold as ice, had a rare and strange look at this moment. Jealous. Lu Yu's first reaction was to think of this, but he immediately shook his head. Joke. Will my cold cousin be jealous of me? It would be better to just say that I saw a sow climbing a tree. Congratulations on clearing the endless beast tide. Thank you again for helping me survive the beast tide test. Qin Xiao finished 2 sentences dryly. Then, he turned around and left without looking back. Only, don't know why, Lu Yu always felt that her turning around this time was not as crisp and clean as she remembered. Hello, smelly man, Lu Yu. The next moment, another female voice interrupted Lu Yu's thoughts. When he came back to his senses, he realized the talented girl from the Li family, Li Weiner, actually walked up to him. Lu Yu was slightly startled and let out a light sigh. I don't seem to know her personally. What? I saw that you were so pretentious during the assessment. Are you still pretending now? Li Weiner pouted and muttered angrily. As soon as she said the words, her beautiful eyes widened and she quickly covered her mouth. You're not going to summon that big guy and set me off like a firework, are you? Shouldn't it be possible? I'm here to congratulate you for getting first place in the assessment. Li Weiner came closer and asked in a low voice. Lu Yu. And the next moment, finally, Lu Yu welcomed a male compatriot. The genius of the Shen family, one of the 3 major families in Jinling, has a 9-star talent and a sword attribute physique, Shen Tianzong. Lu Yu, congratulations. Shen Tianzong had a gentle smile on his face. Seeing this, Lu Yu nodded in response. Don't hit the smiling person with your hand, Lu Yu still understands this. And the next moment, Shen Tianzong's words suddenly made the atmosphere in the hall suddenly become weird and subtle. You are very strong now. But in the future, martial arts must be respected. Just this sentence. On Shen Tianzong, the cold sword energy roared faintly. And Lu Yu, he narrowed his eyes slightly. Within the main hall. Originally, because a few people greeted Lu Yu, a somewhat peaceful atmosphere had just been restored. After Shen Tianzong's abrupt words, the atmosphere suddenly became weird. Even, there was a hint of depression and tension. Hello. Beside Lu Yu, when Zhang Zuying heard this, her pretty face froze and she became unhappy. As soon as she spoke, Lu Yu stretched out his hand to stop her. He took a step forward and walked to Shen Tianzong. Now, Shen Tianzong's whole body was still filled with sword energy whistling and crisscrossing, and he looked very powerful. Martial arts. Really strong. Lu Yu looked at Shen Tianzong, chuckled and spoke. Shen Tianzong's expression remained unchanged. It's just that the sword energy on his body became sharper and sharper. This moment, he almost pushed the sword energy in his body to the extreme. Warriors below the 6th level will die if touched. And Lu Yu, he suddenly smiled. He held out his hand. Press forward slightly. Click. Within the main hall, there was a clear cracking sound. And the next moment, Lu Yu had already turned around. Juvenile, your sword seems not very strong. Wow. Crash. Lu Yu just finished speaking. Shen Tian jumped forward. The long sword that he had always carried in his hand had been shattered to pieces at some point. And on Shen Tianzong's face, at this moment, he finally showed a stunned expression. What? When? He didn't even see Lu Yu's action clearly. Original. He also thought that Lu Yu only relied on his pet beasts to achieve such strong combat power. Original. He thought that the gap between himself and Lu Yu was not particularly big. And now, Lu Yu's gentle finger made his originally strong sword god's heart become a little shaky. But, base. The next moment, the sound of sword energy chanting softly sounded. Shen Tianzong's aura suddenly burst out. It can only be said that due to his constitution with the attributes of the innate sword, his Taoist heart is still much more stable than that of Shen Tushang. He just lost his mind for a short while and then regained his composure. And this moment, Lu Yu, who had walked a few steps away, stopped. He didn't look back, but the words came from far away. Just now, it was your first offense, so I cut you off with one blow. If you still don't have a clear head and want to prove something, I don't mind setting off fireworks for everyone in the main hall. As soon as this statement came out, there was sudden silence in the entire hall. The foreheads of many students were dripping with sweat. Fireworks. They know very well what fireworks are. Shen Tianzong stared at Lu Yu's back and said, for a long time, but in the end, he couldn't hold back the second word. And the sword energy on his body also slowly dissipated. God of martial arts, he is practicing martial arts. Just until the end. After all, Shen Tianzong gritted his teeth and shouted in a low voice. When Lu Yu heard this, he suddenly laughed. God of war. Are you a god of war? Just 2 sentences. Shen Tianzong's entire face turned red and purple. Outside the secret realm, many strong men watched this scene. Their faces all looked much uglier. In fact, regarding Shen Tianzong's behavior just now, instead of feeling reckless, they all agreed with it. A true warrior dares to show his sword to the stronger one. The most important thing is, could it be that those words spoken by Shen Tianzong were not the deepest voices in the hearts of these king-level experts? Lu Yu is very strong now, too strong, too strong. But, the beast master profession is, after all, an alternative profession. No one knows whether Lu Yu can continue to be so tyrannical in the future. Or, at a certain level, Lu Yu would be stuck and unable to move forward even half a step. Don't you see? Even Lord Martial God advised Lu Yu to give up his career as a beast master and switch to martial arts again. If it is too strong, it will break easily. Even if Lord Martial God is protecting you, Lu Yu's character is still too arrogant. Besides, the present cannot represent the future. The world is still uncertain. No one can say for sure who is the real dragon. Lu Yu didn't know the discussions and opinions of many powerful people outside the secret realm. Even if heard, he won't take it seriously either. Only you know your own profession and your god-level talents. No one else, not even the martial god, can see the whole picture. Lu Yu ignored the group of talented students with different faces behind him. He took the lead and walked toward the center of the hall. Behind him, Zhang Zuying followed step by step. There seemed to be many pictures engraved on the walls of this hall. Lu Yu finished speaking. The atmosphere in the hall finally relaxed slightly. This time, many other students also discovered this. Everyone curiously approached the walls around the hall and observed them carefully. And watching, everyone, including Lu Yu, started to feel their hearts beating violently. On top of this mural, the imprint seems to be a scene from a previous era. The broken mountains and earth, the inverted sky. The strong human race who flew into the sky and escaped from the earth, and the terrifying giant beast, some students exclaimed. And then, more and more murals were discovered, and more scenes appeared, as if traveling through time and space. A long time has passed. After everyone has seen all the murals, that period of history was finally restored. The last era was called the Ancient Era. I don't know how long ago it was, maybe tens of thousands of years. And in that era, the experiences of human beings were exactly the same as ours on Blue Star today. The only difference is, according to the description of the mural, before the natural disaster of the giant beasts came, the humans in this world had already embarked on the path of martial arts. Until that day, the abyss and the temple descend at the same time. The human race has embarked on the road of survival against the natural disasters of giant beasts. And this secret realm we are in was once one of the largest martial arts sects in that world, the Red Flame sect. Quote. One word from everyone, one word from me, all the information is connected in series. But, Lu Yu listened, but frowned slightly and fell into silence. He was thinking about a question. Since it was one of the most powerful martial arts sects in the past, why has it become a secret realm now? Besides, Lu Yu recalled the choice he faced when he awakened a year ago. Occupation: Beastmaster only. The only one. You are the only Beastmaster in all the worlds, unprecedented and unprecedented. Keywords: all heavens and all realms. Lu Yu has always believed that there is more to the world than Blue Star. In the infinite space and time, Blue Star is just a drop in the ocean. Only, did the natural disasters of giant beasts come to all the worlds at the same time? And this natural disaster may have spread through countless epochs and eras from ancient times to the present. Lu Yu stared at the ancient murals in front of him. Don't know why, he suddenly felt, my profession as a beast master may be far more special than I imagined, much more special. And the next moment, buzz, buzz, the end of the hall. Waves of trembling sounds sounded, interrupting the discussions of many students. Whoosh, whoosh, a humanoid stone statue several meters high flew out. Bang, the stone statue fell to the ground, making a dull sound. Then, buzz, buzz, above these stone statues, bursts of bright light suddenly lit up. Boom, the terrifying aura is reviving and awakening. This moment, everyone, including Lu Yu, held their breath and stared blankly at this scene. This moment, within the main hall, the stone statues are like strong men from the ancient era, crossing endless time and space and returning to the world. Chapter 91. In the main hall, there are a total of 50 stone statues, large and small, standing at random. Every stone statue is extremely bright at this moment, like a bright sun. Buzz, buzz, within the vast hall. The source of power roared like a storm, and the terrifying aura oppressed everyone's breath. The humanoid stone statues are carved lifelike. There are men and women, with knives and swords at their waists. You can also see a few stone statues whose weapons are special throwing knives and flute instruments. And their eyes were originally silent and lifeless. At this moment, with the awakening of breath, it seems that they all have a little bit of brightness and energy. Click, caca. The next moment, these stone statues turned their heads slightly and made a clicking sound. Their gaze, it fell on hundreds of students in the hall. This moment, the sense of pressure and momentum increases again. Bang, some students who were at a lower level or were weak-minded, half knelt on the ground at this sight. Swish, and the next moment, white light flashed. The students who were kneeling on the ground were teleported directly out of the hall. Such a scene, the hearts of the remaining people in the hall jumped when they saw it. Obviously, the last opportunity has appeared, but it is also the final test. Buzz, immediately afterwards, it seems to echo everyone's thoughts. In the main hall, the illusory light screen projection reappeared, and lines of text appeared. The final opportunity of the Red Flame sect. If you are recognized by the stone statue, you can obtain the inheritance of the corresponding strong person. Everyone can only choose one inheritance at most. In the main hall, many students were stunned at first, and then almost all showed expressions of ecstasy and excitement. Even as talented as Li Weiner and Shen Tianzong, they can't hide the anticipation on their faces. This is inherited from the strong men of the ancient era. And It was just the pressure of breath just now. You can guess what these strong men once were, how powerful they were. Even, Lee Wainer secretly glanced at the female stone statue in the front. In her body, Lee Wainer felt a sense of oppression similar to that of her ancestor. And my ancestor is the crown prince of the saint. The inheritance of the saints. If this were exposed to the outside world, not to mention king-level warriors, even countless martial arts supremes would have their heads broken for this. Outside the secret realm, in fact, just as Lee Wainer thought. When the king-level experts saw this stone statue, their eyes almost turned red. Their eyes were fixed on the projection screen, and their breathing became rapid. Exalted level. The inheritance of these stone statues is probably at least the highest level. Oh my God, this small secret realm of the sect actually hides such a great opportunity. I can't see through those stone statues in the front. I always feel that they are more than just seniors. The king-level experts became more and more fierce as they talked. To the end, some people even have chaotic energy fluctuations all over their body, and their breath cannot calm down for a long time. And above the sky, the faces of the martial arts masters looked even more solemn and serious. Their gaze, at this moment, they all stared at the stone statues in the front. Saint, it is definitely the inheritance of the saint. Even, demigod level is possible. Kai Zhongyan, the supreme master of Qinglong Martial Arts Academy, gave the conclusion word for word. The words fell. The other supreme beings all nodded silently. These lucky students. I just don't know what kind of inheritance Lu Yu will get in the end. The supreme female of Zouk Martial Academy sighed and spoke quietly. And the next moment, the scene that happened in the picture made these supreme beings, as well as all the king-level powerhouses below, all stunned. In the main hall. Perhaps it was because Lu Yu ranked first in all previous assessments. Swish. There was a flash of white light. The power of the rules of the secret realm directly moved him out of the crowd and stood in front of a group of stone statues. This moment, a total of 50 looks from ancient powerful men all fell on Lu Yu. Lu Yu, on the other hand, still looked calm in the face of the terrifying pressure. Then, buzz. Assessment failed. Assessor Lu Yu has not been recognized by any stone statues. 2 lines of text appeared on the light screen projection in the main hall. This moment, there was silence in the main hall at first, and then there was an uproar. I am Sao. Fake, right? Lu Yu has such an abnormal state and combat power. He can defeat a king-level beast at the 7th level, but he still can't get recognition. What the hell? If Lu Yu can't even get recognition, what a waste of time we have to take the exam. Just give up. Isn't this opportunity something we can just look at and no one can get it? Quote. The students were all excited and talking about it. And Lu Yu, he frowned slightly and looked at the 50 stone statues. On the stone statue, the aura is very strong. But it seems that every one of them is a strong martial artist. Lu Yu frowned slightly, as if he had some realization. And the next moment, buzz, his waist, 2 tokens suddenly flew out. This is, in the previous assessment, Lu Yu obtained the so-called sect inheritance token. After the token appears, the originally silent stone statue suddenly lit up again. Assessor Lu Yu, use the prop, inheritance token. You can choose one of the 2 stone statue inheritances. Then, there are 50 stone statues scattered in front and back. All eyes fell on Lu Yu again. Click, Kaka. The stone statues with the strongest auras at the front were the first to look away. This is still not the performance of Lu Yu. Click. Kaka. Within the main hall, the clicking sound of the stone statue turning its head kept ringing. To the end, only the 2 stone statues at the rear are left. Their aura is the lowest and weakest among these 50 stone statues. It seems that he has just barely reached the level of Zun level. But what's outrageous is, even so, the 2 stone statues seem to still be full of disappointment and reluctance when looking at Lu Yu. Only, restricted by secret realm rules. They had no choice but to recognize Lu Yu. Assessor Lu Yu, please choose a stone statue to pass on. This moment, in the main hall, secret inside and outside. After everyone watched the scene just now, there was a strong look of weirdness on their faces. Even many people, at this moment, he even showed a funny expression. At this moment, they finally understood. Maybe it's not how difficult the opportunity test is. But Lu Yu himself, he was disgusted by these stone statues. Ha ha ha, so what if my previous results were good? The real opportunity is now, but you can only choose the most rubbish one. We can even do it with the help of props. This is the treatment of the Beastmaster profession. In the main hall, Shen Tianzong looked at this scene. He shouted in his heart and laughed wildly in his heart. And the next moment, in front of the stone statue, Lu Yu also smiled. Snap, he reached out and grabbed the 2 sect inheritance tokens floating in the air. Then, he threw it hard to the ground. Then, without any hesitation, he turned around and left. Have mercy on me, dislike me. The way to control beasts is to be invincible, so why rely on martial arts skills? He laughed heartily. The extremely arrogant words echoed repeatedly in the hall. And that's this moment. Buzz, buzz. In the darkness at the end of the hall, the deepest part. A stone statue of an old red-haired man with the most primitive and mysterious aura suddenly lit up. In the main hall, Lu Yu walked back to the crowd. Zhang Zuying bit her lip, a little worried that Lu Yu's mood would be affected, so she stepped forward and wanted to say something. Lu Yu smiled and waved his hands, saying indifferently, "Fine, have you forgotten that I am a beast master, not a warrior? In fact, even if I get recognition from the stone statue, it doesn't mean anything. Not to mention the saint level, even the god level martial arts passed down to me, there is actually no use for it." Lu Yu's words were full of lightness and calmness. After Zhang Zuying heard this, her pretty face became tense. For a moment, she couldn't find any better words to comfort Lu Yu. And the other side, follow Lu Yu back to the crowd. Buzz. The power of the rules of the secret realm is activated again. Shen Tianzong's figure appeared in front of the stone statue. In terms of assessment rankings, Lu Yu ranked first and Shen Tianzong ranked second. This should also be the order in which the assessment is conducted. Buzz, buzz. Now, the same scene as what happened just now. The eyes of the 50 stone statues all fell on this genius of the Shen family. Base. Shen Tianzong looked extremely serious. He burst out with all his strength, and sword energy roared all over his body. 9-star martial arts talent, innate sword attribute physique. Not counting others like Lu Yu, his talent is enough to make him proud of countless geniuses. Buzz. At the same time, Shen Tianzong's waist. A legacy token also flew out. This was the reward for the 4th day of the Beast-Tide assessment. Only 5 students among the students present received it, and Shen Tianzong was one of them. Buzz, buzz. One after another, the stone statues lit up. After a while, Assessor Shen Tianzong, accepted by 7 stone statues. You can choose one of the 7 inheritances. Wow. The moment the result appears on the light curtain, the students in the main hall were in an uproar again. I am Sao. Shen Tianzong is invincible. It turns out the real genius is Shen Tianzong. You can choose from 7 inheritances. My mom, it's so cool. Quote. A lot of students were talking about it. In the words, Lu Yu was not mentioned in every word, but Lu Yu seemed to be mentioned in every word. And in front of the main hall, facing 7 lit stone statues, Shen Tianzong did not make a choice immediately. Instead, he turned around and looked at Lu Yu. A bright smile appeared on Shen Tianzong's face. This scene, all the students were left in silence again. Lu Yu, on the other hand, narrowed his eyes slightly. Final. Shen Tianzong chose a stone statue located very near the front to inherit. That stone statue practiced swordsmanship, which is in line with Shen Tianzong's martial arts path. And the aura of that stone statue is extremely strong. Even if it does not reach the holy level, it is definitely not far behind. Click. As Shen Tianzong made his choice, the stone statue flew out, followed him step by step, and followed Shen Tianzong back to the crowd. It looks like the stone statue seems to have temporarily acted as a bodyguard. After Shen Tianzong, the 3rd person to conduct the assessment was Li Weiner. Her performance wasn't bad either. It was also recognized by the 7 stone statues. In the end, Li Weiner chose a stone statue who stood at the front and had the most powerful aura. After this, one student after another, students were assessed one after another according to their assessment rankings. Although Zhang Zuying's talent is not outstanding, with the help of the inheritance token, she also obtained the martial arts inheritance of a distinguished stone statue. It is worth mentioning, Qin Xiao, who has always been secretive, turned out to be the one with the best performance among all human resources. After she appeared on the stage, she was recognized by 10 stone statues. This also includes a holy stone statue at the very front. This result can be said to have exceeded everyone's expectations. Shen Tianzong's original proud expression became much gloomier because of this. Qin Xiao also chose the most powerful saint inheritance without hesitation and became the biggest winner in the final test of chance. Teacher, thank you. After Qin Xiao walked back to the crowd, she called silently in her heart. Others don't know what's going on, how could she not? When she was undergoing the assessment just now, the Empress teacher secretly helped her so that she could obtain this saint's inheritance. Nothing. You call me teacher, that's what I should do. The Empress's calm words stopped abruptly midway through. In Qin Xiao's consciousness space, the face of the Empress in purple and gold robes changed instantly. Her gaze passed through all obstacles and looked towards the deepest part of the hall. The next moment, the Empress' soul body groaned, as if struck by lightning. This is God-level breath. The Empress's face, which seemed to be always majestic and always calm, finally showed a bit of eccentric horror at this moment. She sensed, in the deepest part of the hall, a God-level aura is constantly reviving. The deepest part of the secret realm. Endless void, desolate land. In the towering Tianjin Tower. Boom, rumble. Within the 8 silent giant towers, terrifying fluctuations suddenly erupted at the same time. All 8 heads opened their eyes instantly. And in their huge eyes, at this moment, full of panic, brother, it's that old man's breath. Did you feel it, brother? The 4th child, who was in charge of the ultimate power of fire, screamed and yelled. The monstrous flames swept across an area thousands of miles in radius, roaring and surging, showing the great fluctuations in its heart. Brother, I feel it too. How could it be? How could the old man's aura appear at this time? Brother, Xiaoba is scared. Ooh, brother. Horse riding. Didn't you say that the old man went to the starry sky battlefield? In the void, the shadow of a huge golden head condensed out. He is the eldest among the 9 brothers. And at this moment, on its huge head, the face is extremely solemn. It's really the aura of old man Yan. How is that possible? How is that possible? 20,000 years ago, I saw with my own eyes that after he sealed us, he went to the starry sky battlefield. Even as the boss. At this moment it is a little confused and panicked. The 9 brothers are not afraid of anything, except just afraid of that bad old man. Don't be afraid, don't panic. Anyway, Xiaoju hasn't been awakened yet. It's not the worst yet. The boss was silent for a long time. He held back a few words of comfort. But the other brothers are completely unable to calm down. To the end, the eyes of the 8 brothers gathered on the 9th giant tower. Xiaoju, you must not wake up. Deep in their hearts, they couldn't even help but pray at the same time. Brotherly love is deep brotherly love. But the current situation. The 8 brothers even hoped that Xiaoju would remain silent and never wake up. Inside the main hall of Qian sect, as the last student appears, this opportunity test has finally come to an end. Within the main hall, there were originally 50 stone statues, but now there were only about 10 left. The rest of the stone statues were all like bodyguards at this moment, following different students. Well, I didn't get recognition from any of the stone statues. I'm so miserable. Ha ha ha, I was lucky enough to get a recognition. Although it is the last stone statue, it is also a senior level inheritance. With more than 100 of us, we can obtain more than 40 inheritances. This probability is already exaggerated. That's right, even the lowest inheritance is better than no inheritance at all. With the end of the assessment, the students in the hall were once again noisy. And between words, it seemed that Lu Yu's name was being mentioned again. Around Shen Tianzong, at this moment, there are many talented students surrounding them, vaguely showing the appearance of a small group headed by them. And next to Lu Yu, standing were Zhang Zuying and Qin Xiao. The slightly weird thing is, behind the 2 women, there was a stone statue with a powerful aura. Only Lu Yu was alone. This should be the last level of the assessment. After accepting the inheritance, we should be able to leave the secret realm. Zhang Zuying looked at Lu Yu and said softly. She got this information from the stone statues. As for the inheritance method, according to the stone statue, as long as the mind is connected, it can be performed at any time. But the specific time of the inheritance is hard to say. It may end soon, or it may take several days. Before, you could actually choose an inheritance. Qin Xiao stared at Lu Yu for a while and suddenly said. When Lu Yu heard this, he looked around, eyes facing each other. Just a few seconds, Qin Xiao took the lead in looking away and looking elsewhere. I'm a beast master, and it's useless for me to inherit the martial arts. Lu Yu sighed softly and said again. Certainly, there is another big reason for this. That is the passivity of his beast master profession. The source of cultivation power must be transformed into the power of beast control. In other words, Lu Yu couldn't take this path of martial arts at all. A fellow practitioner of martial arts and beast control. Lu Yu had never thought about it before. But unfortunately, it simply cannot be done. For him, he can only choose one or the other. There is no doubt that Lu Yu will only choose the beast master. But then again, it's useless, but it's really unpleasant to feel rejected by a stone statue. Lu Yu looked at Shen Tianzong, who was not far away and had a smile on his face. There are two things he hates most in his life. First, stop yourself from pretending. Second, show off in front of yourself. Boom, rumble. And just when Lu Yu had this idea, in the main hall, suddenly there was a violent tremor. A series of thunderous bangs exploded in everyone's ears at the same time. Boom, rumble, the loud noise continued. This moment, everyone even felt that the ground beneath their feet was trembling. I am Sao. What's going on? Some students were shocked and shouted. The students who responded quickly asked about the inheritance stone statue behind them. Then, these people were all dumbfounded. Because, swish, swish, the stone statues that were originally following many students like bodyguards flew out of control and all flew towards the center of the hall. Among them, even including the saint-level stone statue that Qin Xiao obtained. And 10 stone statues that had not been obtained by anyone before flew out of the darkness and landed in the center of the hall. Such a scene. Everyone was shocked when they saw it. But the next moment, the shock on everyone's faces turned into confusion and shock. Because, click, caca, bang, center of the main hall. A total of 50 stone statues all knelt on the ground in unison and in unison. Get down on one knee. Bow your head. Even the few holy level inheritance stone statues at the front are no exception. And in fact, what happened was not just in the main hall. Boom, rumble. This moment, the entire secret world, even the desolate land in the endless void, is trembling violently. Above the endless wilderness, countless beasts roaming around, crawling on the ground, trembling. In the arena, the last remaining king-level giant wolves in the darkness. The sadness on their faces was instantly replaced by deep fear and horror. It's him. He's back. They are as powerful as king-level beasts. This moment, as fragile as a child who is afraid of thunder. Boom, rumble. The vibrations in the secret world are still expanding. Soon, this kind of shock is about to spread to the outside. Outside the secret realm, the entrance to the secret realm is like a crack between heaven and earth. Originally, it was extremely silent. Now, it is constantly surging. It's like, there is some extremely terrifying existence that wants to emerge from it. This scene, all the king-level experts in the land below were horrified. And above the sky, it is difficult for several martial arts masters to even stand in the air at this moment. Their bodies were falling rapidly towards the earth below. Bang! Just for a moment, the ground is filled with smoke and dust. The 5 supreme powerful men were pressed back to the ground alive. What a breath. Fu Yifeng, the leader of the Xuanlong army who had always been the most calm among the 5, was trembling slightly at this moment. Because, the slight breath escaping from the crack in the abyss actually made him, the supreme peak, feel the threat of death. The owner of that aura can easily kill him with just one thought. But what really made him panic and uneasy was this breath. It seems to be more terrifying than the Lord Martial God he has seen before. Lord Martial God is the pinnacle of demigods. More powerful than the God of war. God level. Buzz, buzz. The breath keeps spreading and sweeping. Soon, it's not just this wild land. Even the huge Jinling city was completely enveloped by this aura. And the scariest thing is, under the pressure of this breath, the saint ancestors of the three major families also have no power to resist. Even, their feelings are exactly the same as Ku Yifeng's. The owner of this breath can easily kill them countless times with just one thought. In the main hall, the students didn't know that the news of this change was so exaggerated. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the deepest part of the hall. There was a faint sound of fluctuation. Seem. There is something coming through the sky. Buzz. The next moment, within the main hall, suddenly, endless brilliant flames burned out of thin air. Buzz, buzz. An extremely ordinary-looking stone statue appeared in the center of this sea of fire. The appearance of the stone statue. It's an old man with messy red hair. It's you. This moment, Lu Yu's eyes suddenly widened. He recognized it. This was the red-haired old man who had called him a youngster before and claimed that he had been waiting for him for 120,000 years. In the main hall, now, the sea of fire is gorgeous. A stone statue of a red-haired old man stood quietly suspended in the center of the sea of fire. Buzz. Above the stone statue, bursts of sparkling light came out. Boom. The next moment, when the stone statue's eyes opened, the entire secret realm was shaking violently, as if it was on the verge of collapse. Within the main hall, all the students stared wide-eyed, held their breath, and did not dare to breathe. No matter how blind they are, they can still see it now. This stone statue of an old red-haired man has an astonishing origin, the kind that can pierce the sky. Don't you see? All the stone statues of saints before were now kneeling in front of the old man, their faces full of piety and fanaticism. Gulu. Within the main hall, there were countless sounds of quietly swallowing saliva. Hundreds of students looked at me, but no one was speechless, and at the same time they didn't dare to speak. Only, it's you. Lu Yu's exclamation exploded like thunder on the ground in the hall. All the other students' scalps went numb instantly. Kaka. This moment, the 50 stone statues that were kneeling in front of the red-haired old man all turned their heads and stared at Lu Yu. Those who disrespect our ancestors. Die. These stone statues, which had been mute from beginning to end, all shouted angrily at this moment. Boom. An unparalleled momentum swept out, almost overturning the entire hall. The power of the venerable, the power of the saint. This is. No one below the king level can reach it. It's over. Ah, Lu Yu, I hate you. Are you going to die here? Lu Yu, you are so cruel, you want to die and you drag us with you. This moment, almost all the students present felt the breath of death coming towards their faces. Even if many of these students had previously been recognized by the stone statues. But now, anyone who disrespects our ancestors will die. But, at this critical moment, the red-haired old man's eyes fell on Lu Yu. At this moment, a relieved smile suddenly appeared on his messy face. No need. A kind voice came from above the stone statue of the red-haired old man. Wow, a moment. The endless sea of fire is even more splendid. The terrifying aura exuded by the 50 stone statues melted away in an instant like spring snow. Their faces regained their previous piety and fanaticism. All the stone statues knelt down quietly in front of the red-haired old man. It was as if the violent storm just now had never happened at all. This moment, all the students in the hall seemed to have escaped from death, and they all breathed a sigh of relief. And immediately after, their eyes were fixed on Lu Yu. Obviously, it was Lu Yu's random remarks just now that caused everyone to be almost killed on the spot. Lu Yu, you. Shen Tianzong's face was slightly pale, and he was about to attack first. But, the words were only half spoken, stopped by him. Because, the red-haired old man's stone statue in the center of the sea of fire buzzed through space and landed directly in front of Lu Yu. The two are almost face to face. And the next moment, above the stone statue of the red-haired old man, the kind words sounded again. Afterlife, you're finally here. Just this sentence. Shen Tianzong's face was completely dull. All the students in the hall were dumbfounded. And outside the secret realm, many powerful men, including several martial arts supremes, who looked at this scene, all had their eyes widened with astonishment on their faces. This god-level terrifying existence. You actually showed up because of Lu Yu. This moment, from the 2 short sentences of the red-haired old man, everyone got the exact same message. Then, they were immediately at a loss. The god-level ancestor mentioned by the ancient stone statue actually came for Lu Yu. But obviously before, Lu Yu was even disliked by 50 stone statues. Bang, 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 when everyone just thought of this. Within the main hall, suddenly I remembered bursts of dull sounds. Only then did everyone discover. The 50 stone statues of strong men had turned around at some point. At this moment, they all faced Lu Yu's direction and knelt down on one knee. We were so disrespectful before. Your Majesty, please forgive me. The rumbling words almost shook everyone's eardrums. And these 2 sentences, these stone statues speak to Lu Yu. This moment, inside and outside the secret, there is total silence. The reversal happened so quickly that everyone's brains were shut down. In the main hall, Lu Yu looked at the stone statue of the red-haired old man in front of him, and then looked at the 50 stone statues of strong men kneeling down towards him not far away. To be honest, he is also confused now. You. Who is it? Why did you say wait for me before? Lu Yu's eyes finally fell back on the red-haired old man, with countless questions in his mind. And the words fell. There was a kind smile on the face of the red-haired old man. He did not answer immediately, but stared at Lu Yu quietly for a long, long time. It wasn't until Lu Yu's whole body felt a little hairy that the red-haired old man's voice slowly sounded in his heart. Who I am. In the last era, many people called me Old Man Yan. When Lu Yu heard this, he was slightly stunned and subconsciously asked. Are you the ancestor of the Red Flame sect? Is this secret realm yours? The red-haired old man's stone statue nodded its head, and then shook it again. Yes and no. Lu Yu, what the hell? Not long after Valkyrie left, another riddler came, right? Ha ha, don't be anxious, don't panic, don't be upset. I will tell you whatever you want to know. The words just fell. The red-haired old man's stone statue suddenly turned around. He stretched out his right hand and tapped it lightly in the void. Buzz, buzz. Space ripples that were almost visible to the naked eye spread out from his fingertips, covering the entire hall in an instant. And immediately after, Lu Yu discovered, the surrounding environment has changed. At this moment, he seemed to be no longer in the hall, but appeared in a mysterious space somewhere. I let them go on with their own business, said. The old man once again reached out his hand in the void. Then, in front of Lu Yu's eyes, the scene in the hall at this moment appeared. In the main hall, he and the red-haired old man had disappeared. The students, on the other hand, were excited and making a fuss. But it didn't take long. As the stone statues returned one after another, the students could only temporarily suppress the various emotions surging in their hearts, and each accepted the martial arts inheritance from the ancient strong man. Then, Old Man Yan stretched out his hand again and tapped in the void. This moment, a horrific scene happened. Under Lu Yu's horrified gaze, the time and space around the old man seemed to be retracing, reversing, and flowing backwards. Until the moment Lu Yu just entered the secret realm and boarded the Jade Square. In a mysterious space, Old Man Yan and Lu Yu stood opposite each other. Then, around Lu Yu, from the moment he entered the secret realm, all the scenes that happened were traced back. Even Lu Yu could feel that he was standing next to himself. Together with Old Man Yan, he watched helplessly as, himself, underwent a strength test, survived the beast-tide assessment, and stepped into the Red Flame sect's main hall. Time passes minute by minute. Time seems to be frozen in this moment. Lu Yu didn't know how long had passed. Finally, when the timeline ends, oneself and self overlap. The time and space regression is over and he returns to the present. The moment when consciousness returns. Lu Yu's scalp was numb. He is 100% sure. This is definitely not a simple picture trace. Instead, he broke the barriers of time and space. Together with Old Man Yan, he returned to the previous time and space, and outside of time, he quietly looked back at everything that had happened in the past period. Horrible, exaggerated, and outrageous. Lu Yu only had this thought in his mind at the moment. And Old Man Yan, it seemed like he was just doing something trivial. After watching all of Lu Yu's performances, His messy but kind face finally showed a smile from the bottom of his heart. Afterlife. You're great. Old Man Yan looked at Lu Yu at this time. In addition to the initial intimacy, there was already a bit more appreciation and satisfaction. Lu Yu didn't know what to say, so he simply nodded numbly. And the next moment, Old Man Yan stared at Lu Yu for a while and suddenly said, "You have the aura of the most powerful person in your body." As soon as this statement came out, Lu Yu was slightly startled. The most powerful, weird smell, not reaching the god level, but better than the god level. It seems, he is also an interesting young man. Old Man Yan muttered to himself. He stared at Lu Yu for a while, as if he thought of something and had some realization, but he didn't say it clearly. Only Lu Yu was confused from beginning to end. Don't talk about this. Just when Lu Yu wanted to ask more questions, Old Man Yan waved his hand and interrupted directly. Then he changed his tone and said leisurely, "Hunter, do you know why I have been waiting for you for 120,000 years?" As soon as this statement came out, Lu Yu's attention was immediately attracted. "I don't know, please ask Senior to clarify." Lu Yu nodded honestly and said respectfully. When Old Man Yan heard this, he smiled, and finally stopped hiding it, and began to speak slowly. "I am actually a remnant of the last era. The last era was more than 129,000 years ago. You must have seen the murals in the hall before. You should have thought of it too, right? The so-called Behemoth disaster, the war between humans and behemoths, is not what happens to one world in a certain era, but what happens to all worlds in all eras. From ancient times to the present, it has spread for countless epochs, and has spread to all the heavens and worlds." Having said this, Old Man Yan paused slightly. His face showed a rare sadness. There was silence for a long time. Old Man Yan suddenly asked, "Do you know the origins of the 50 stone statues in the main hall?" After Lu Yu listened, he thought for a while and said, "A gift left by the martial arts masters of the Scarlet Flame sect." The words fell. Old Man Yan was silent again. He rubbed his messy red hair, then sighed and said quietly, "Gift, maybe. Those stone statues were created by their own bodies and souls. Those stone statues are themselves." As soon as this statement came out, it was like a groundbreaking shock. Lu Yu stayed in place for a while and did not come back to his senses for a long time. Stone statue. It turned out to be those martial arts experts themselves. "And you?" Lu Yu suddenly reacted and looked at the stone statue of the red-haired old man in front of him with wide eyes. This time, Old Man Yan shook his head and sighed. "I'm different from them. I was already at the god level at that time, but when I stepped into the starry sky battlefield, this stone statue was just a mental remnant of mine." After Lu Yu heard this, he frowned and asked, "Then why do they claim to be life souls and are willing to become cold stone statues? If possible, everyone has the will to survive, right?" Old Man Yan didn't speak. He fell silent again. A long time passed. "Well," he sighed, and the sadness on his old face became a little heavier. He didn't seem to want to say anything more, so he stretched out his hand and touched it gently in the void. Buzz. Scenes of scenes emerged. That's scenes that happened in the ancient era. That's mountains and rivers are turned upside down, the world collapses, and stars in the universe begin to collapse and fall. That's on the planet, countless humans and even giant beasts were wailing for help. But everything turned into pieces of powder and dissipated into the endless void. Such a scene shocked Lu Yu so much that he could not recover for a long time. And Old Man Yan's voice sounded faintly again. This time, what he told was the most terrifying horror story Lu Yu had ever heard. The abyss is coming, a natural disaster of giant beasts. Era changes, the world collapses. As long as this endless war between humans and giant beasts has no end, every 129,600 years, the era will collapse and restart. By then, except for god-level humans or beasts who can enter the starry sky battlefield, all other lives will come to an end. Even if those stone statues outside were once my favorite disciples, but they can't escape that ending. Besides, every secret realm in your world, in essence, is just the remains of the fragments of the world after the collapse of the ancient era. Old Man Yan revealed this shocking secret. For a while, Lu Yu suddenly felt out of breath. All the time, He always felt that as long as he kept growing and becoming stronger, not only saving mankind, but he could at least save the people around him from the threat of natural disasters caused by giant beasts. But actually, the old man Rian, who was strong, could only watch in the end as his disciple, when the era collapsed, claimed that his life soul was turned into a cold stone statue. How powerless, sad. Old man Yan looked at Lu Yu and asked suddenly. Sorrow. Lu Yu nodded, and the next moment, a somewhat relieved smile suddenly appeared on old Yan's face. He looked at Lu Yu, his eyes full of hope and expectation. Young man, 20,000 years ago, I accidentally glimpsed a prophecy of the future. In that prophetic picture, you are the end of all this sorrow. The words fell. Lu Yu was stunned, but old man Yan's tone was more firm. You are a beast master. You are the only beast master in all the worlds. Perhaps in this endless cycle of behemoth natural disasters, you are the only one who can break the situation. Just these 3 sentences. Lu Yu, my scalp is numb. In a mysterious space, the sea of fire is still gorgeous. But Lu Yu's head was buzzing at this moment. For a while, his whole body was a little numb. The information and secrets that old man Yan just revealed are really too shocking. Lu Yu even dared to say it. Even the god-level experts of this era may not know the secrets of reincarnation in these eras. Even if you know, I'm afraid it won't be made public. After all, this is a desperate secret and ending. In the past many eras and countless worlds, how many amazingly talented and powerful human beings have appeared. Lu Yu didn't know, but they must be as countless as the stars in the sky. But even so, era still restarts again and again, reincarnation still happens again and again. No one can change this. It's like, such a desperate ending will last forever. And now, old man Yan suddenly told himself, he may be the only solution to break the reincarnation. This moment, Lu Yu felt a little out of breath. His shoulders seemed to have an extra weight of tens of millions. Afterlife. The old man said too much. You don't have too much pressure. After all, no one is born to be a savior, and no one is born to change or save anything. Only, the old man thinks that you may not want to experience the sadness and despair that I have experienced, and watch all the loved ones die before your eyes. Old man Yan looked at Lu Yu and spoke slowly. Lu Yu remained silent and did not reply. I don't know how much time has passed. Intel, call. Lu Yu exhaled a long breath. His eyes were clear and clear again. Hunter, have you figured it out? Old man Yan stared at Lu Yu, a little surprised. When Lu Yu heard this, he raised his head and smiled brightly. I figured it out. Now, I ask myself, I still don't have the consciousness to be a savior. I just want to become stronger, and then show off, keep getting stronger, and keep showing off. But, if fate really gives me that kind of script and gives me that kind of role, then I think I will do what I should do. The words fell. Old man Yan was stunned. It took quite a while. He just rubbed the messy red hair on his head and laughed. Ha ha ha, okay, that's it, that's how it should be. An extremely satisfied smile appeared on old man Yan's face. The next moment, he finally made up his mind. He flipped one hand in the air. Buzz, buzz, a strange and extremely fluctuating aura came out. In his palm, an ancient key with silvery white color and extremely complicated patterns appeared. The strange thing is, this key seems to be alive. All the time, they are constantly attacking the surroundings. It's like, a trapped lion is tearing at the cage, trying to break free. Only, in the palm of old man Yan's hand, there was also a god-level aura permeating the air. He just suppressed the key in his palm, making it impossible to escape even an inch. This moment, Lu Yu's eyes finally lit up. This is the 9th key. Swish. This moment, white light flashed. 8 keys flew out of Lu Yu's body. These 8 keys, with different colors and auras, rushed towards old man Yan's palm uncontrollably, and merged with the 9th key. Boom. Rumble. This moment, even in a mysterious space, Lu Yu felt the deepest direction of the secret realm, and there were waves of extremely exaggerated tremors, as if the sky was collapsing and the earth was annihilating. Roar. Ho ho. Faintly, Lu Yu could even hear ferocious roars in his ears. That's Behemoth. Ever since entering the secret realm, he has been thinking about the giant beast. This moment, Old Man Yan also saw what Lu Yu was thinking. He smiled slightly and a kind voice said so much. I should let you see. The old man has specially prepared a meeting gift for you. Said. Old Man Yan reached out to the void in front of him and tapped lightly. Buzz, buzz. Scenes appeared in front of Lu Yu's eyes. Then, Lu Yu finally saw the true appearance of the terrifying giant beast in the deepest part of the secret realm. Big, big beyond imagination. Its entire body is entrenched in the void, and its size is nearly 10,000 meters. Thousands of meters, that is the category of a holy beast. This moment, Lu Yu was in a daze. He really never expected. The giant beast hidden in the deepest part of this secret realm is not king level, not honorable level, but holy glory level. The holy glory level behemoth is a terrifying existence that can fight human demigod warriors alone. Lu Yu felt a little dizzy. If I can successfully contract this holy beast, am I invincible? Lu Yu murmured to himself. And the next moment, roar, ho ho, in the void, 8 huge phantom heads appeared. Metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, space. The 8 ultimate powers in the world swept and exploded unbridled in the void. On top of the 9th giant tower, the light began to flicker, the runes were bright, and an indescribable special power slowly spread. Ah, brother, Xiaoju is going to wake up, Xiaoju is going to wake up. It's over, it's over. Brother, didn't you say that Xiaoju won't wake up? Speak, brother, Xiaoba is afraid woo-woo. Quote. In the void, after seeing this scene, the 8 huge head phantoms started to shout over each other. Through the screen, Lu Yu could see the expressions of fear and terror on those huge heads. Why are they so afraid of the awakening of the 9th head? Lu Yu was confused and looked at Old Man Yan and asked. Old Man Yan did not answer directly. He looked at Lu Yu with a kind but expectant smile. In the last era, we failed, and countless human races perished. In this era, I believe you have the opportunity to change that desperate ending. This giant beast was sealed and suppressed by me 120,000 years ago, and was specially prepared for you. I also found it by accident. The legendary beast with the most terrifying potential, the most heaven-defying and the most powerful. 9 heads, 9 awakenings, 9 evolutions. Quote. Later life. The old man is waiting for you in the endless starry sky battlefield. The words fell. Old Man Yan's figure began to slowly dissipate like smoke and dust. To the end, only a bright spot of light exuding a strong divine aura was left. Swish. The light point travels through infinite space. Submerged into the 9th giant tower that was about to wake up. Boom. Rumble. This moment, the 9th giant tower shines brightly and wakes up completely. This moment, the 9th giant tower set off a strange ripple wave. Just for a moment, the endless void, the desolate land, the Scarlet Flame sect's main hall, the entire secret realm. Time is completely frozen. Only the mysterious space where Lu Yu was in was not affected. And this moment, Lu Yu finally understood the ultimate power controlled by the 9th head. That's the power of time. That's Dragon of Time. Within the mysterious space, in the picture in front of Lu Yu, the light emanating from the 9th giant tower is getting brighter and brighter. To the end, it even completely overshadowed all the momentum of the other 8 giant towers. Endless void, desolate land. It seems that there is only one huge tower standing in it. Buzz, buzz. The strange and unpredictable power of time spreads like ripples again. Wow, this moment, like ice and snow melting, like the world being born. The entire secret world, which had been completely frozen in time, continued to happen as the scenes from the previous second continued. And the scary thing is, all the creatures in the secret world have no awareness of this at all. Even if the same is true for the other 8 brothers in the void. Their thoughts are still stuck in the last moment, the moment when the 9th giant tower awakened with great light. And when the thought returns, they see, the light on the 9th giant tower had stopped at some point. Instead, it is the strange power of time that is always permeating around the giant tower. Xiaoju. It was Xiaoju's power just now. Time has been frozen by Xiaoju. The 4th child, who was in charge of the ultimate power of fire, was the first to shout after reacting. And the other side, The huge golden head in the void has an extremely solemn expression. Xiaoju woke up. Xiaoju wakes up for the first time in 120,000 years. In the moment before, it felt the light spot transformed by Old Man Yan. That old man, before entering the starry sky battlefield, he was willing to leave behind a ray of divine will as a backup. Don't he know that even if he reaches the god level, he is just like a minion in the starry sky battlefield? How dare he kill himself and lose his strength? The golden boss screamed angrily. And the next moment, buzz, buzz, before the ninth giant tower, an almost transparent crystal head emerged faintly. Above the head, there seemed to be endless whirlpools swirling in those huge eyes. Gee, sizzling. The power of time is intertwined with each other. Brother, Xiaozhou's voice suddenly sounded. In the void. The other 8 heads were all silent at this moment. 8 pairs of eyes with different colors but the same huge size all looked at Xiaozhou, the brother who was ranked lowest but also the most mysterious and powerful. I saw the future. Xiaozhou's voice sounded extremely calm. Even if it saw the scene of all 9 brothers waking up at this moment, it did not panic at all. Instead, there was an inexplicable look of relief on its face. It's like, it has been waiting for this day for a long, long time. But, at this moment, it is up to the other 8 brothers to ask questions. Xiaozhou remained silent. Its eyes were just staring at a certain void. That's the direction of the mysterious space where Lu Yu is located. Are you the future I see? Xiaozhou's murmur sounded. The sound was not quiet, it even rumbled in the void. Can be biased. Under the power of time. No other living being can hear it. This is a voice outside of time. Within the mysterious space. Lu Yu's hands. I don't know when. All 9 keys appeared in the palm of his hand. Now, there were waves of strange fluctuations coming from all 9 keys. The weirdest 9th key is no longer restless, but very quiet. Swish. When the 9 keys come together. Lu Yu was shocked. An overwhelming amount of information flooded into his mind. This is Holy Tianlong, Sky Holding Tower, 120,000 years. The true rules of the secret realm. Call. A long time passed. Lu Yu just let out a long breath, and his inner emotions slowly calmed down. The message just now was left by Old Man Yan for him. Only now did Lu Yu finally understand the information about the 9 giant towers. Sky Holding Tower. The god-level Old Man Yan spent countless resources and countless years to build the suppressive ceiling tower. Its function. It is to absorb and weaken the power of the 9 heads at all times. In the last era, that is, 120,000 years ago, the realm of these 9 heads was all saint glory level. And now, after 120,000 years, although they are still at the saint glory level, their own strength is only equivalent to the king level. Before, Lu Yu saw that the terrifying power caused by these 9 heads was essentially the result of their explosion with the help of the power in the Tianjun Tower. Besides, Lu Yu finally knew the name of this terrifying 9-headed beast. They are named after dragons. 9 turns Holy Dragon. In the world of Old Man Yuan Yan in the ancient era, the most mysterious and powerful monster in legend. According to the information left by Old Man Yan. Among the rumors, the 9-turn Holy Dragon can undergo 9 awakenings and evolutions. Every time it evolves, its realm and strength will be horribly improved. Now this one is sealed in the secret realm. It's just 3 awakenings. But even so, in the last era, at the level of Sheng Yao, it can kill countless demigod-level human warriors. It was the god-level Old Man Yan who took action to suppress him. According to Old Man Yan, although he doesn't know how my profession contracts with giant beasts, he doesn't suggest that I contract 9 heads at the same time, but contract them separately and defeat them one by one. 9 heads, 9 powers, I need to make 9 contracts. Lu Yu looked at the scene in front of him and murmured to himself. And the next moment, buzz, the 9 keys in his hand suddenly glowed brightly. In an instant, the light enveloped Lu Yu, and his figure disappeared on the spot. And Lu Yu, he just felt dazed for a while, and when he looked up again, he realized. He is being protected by a mysterious force of rules, standing in the endless void. Before his eyes, they are 9 towering towers. Buzz. Buzz. With the arrival of Lu Yu, a terrifying fluctuating aura came from all the 9 giant towers. Swish. In the void, One after another, huge head shadows condensed out. Their eyes were all fixed on Lu Yu in midair. Is this the human being finally chosen by Old Man Yan? What a weak breath. There is not even a trace of source power fluctuation in the whole body. In the void, the fiery red head, the fourth child, was the first to shout. The boss with the golden head, who originally had a very solemn expression, became much more relaxed when he saw Lu Yu. He. Compared to the human named Dongfang out 10,000 years ago, he is much weaker. After the boss was relieved, he even started to make comments about Lu Yu. It is very clear about Old Man Yan's plan. It is nothing more than using the power of the sky-suppressing tower to allow humans to forcibly control their 9 brothers. But, can such a weak human being in front of me control them like a 9-turn holy dragon? How is this possible? Impossible, absolutely impossible. The boss with the golden head once again made a conclusion confidently. And Lu Yu. His eyes hurriedly scanned the other 8 heads and landed on the 9th transparent and mysterious head. Dragon of Time. His first contract target. In the void. Xiaozhou's eyes were staring at Lu Yu quietly. In those swirling eyes, there seemed to be endless pictures emerging, evolving, and breaking. Is that you? Xiaozhou murmured. In the past 120,000 years. The other 8 brothers, more or less, have all woken up. But it has been silent. But, in these 120,000 years, Xiaozhou did not do anything. It used all the accumulated time power to deduce the future. Deduced. It is the future of their 9 brothers. Then, Xiaozhou could not believe what he saw. Whether it was it or the other 8 brothers, they were all adopted as pets by a young human man. What's even more outrageous is that human usually uses them as mounts to travel. At that time, Xiaozhou's mentality was shattered. It doesn't believe it. These 9 brothers are majestic 9-turn holy dragons, beings with extremely noble blood among the race of giant beasts. How could you be willing to surrender to a human being? But then it sees. In a corner of the future. The 9 brothers followed that human being and actually achieved awakening and evolution again and again. In the final blurry picture, Xiaozhou even saw. The 9 brothers finally merged into one, becoming the Chaos Holy Dragon. Achieve chaos. This is the obsession and pursuit that has been firmly rooted in the hearts of the 9 brothers since their birth. And therefore, Xiaozhou was shaken. And now, the human being in front of me seems to be slowly overlapping with the human figure in the future corner. Yield. Even if we know the future, the Dragon of Time will not surrender. Xiaozhou's eyes were fixed on Lu Yu. In its heart, not only did it not give up, but it had a rare fighting spirit at this moment. It wants to know, why can this human being in front of me become the master of its time dragon? Buzz. In the void, Lu Yu's eyes also happened to look at him. Now, eyes facing each other, time seems to freeze. Lu Yu, on the other hand, ignored the boss and the 4th who were still noisy and taunting at the side. The 9th key flew out of his palm. Boom, rumble. In an instant, the 9th giant tower began to tremble violently. When the other 8 brothers saw this scene, they were stunned for a moment, and then they were all stunned. I'm Sao. Brother. This human is so brave. He actually wants to challenge Xiaozhou first. In the void, on top of the fiery red head burning with blazing flames, the 4th child's shout rang out. The remaining brothers. The reactions at this moment were all similar. The way they looked at Lu Yu seemed. You are looking at a fool. Ha ha ha. Weak and stupid humans. It's not good to choose anyone, but Xiaozhou. The golden-headed boss even laughed wildly at this moment. He was not afraid that Lu Yu would hear it. Because he knows the rules. The 9 heaven-suppressing towers can only be opened one by one. Lu Yu has already chosen to open the 9th sky-suppressing tower, and he cannot regret it. He can only face Xiaozhou. Either, with the help of the Tianjun Tower, he forcibly suppressed and conquered Xiaozhou. Either, he was poisoned by the spirit and died in the 9th sky-suppressing tower, just like the rest of the human beings in the past 120,000 years. Buzz, buzz. Next to Lu Yu, white light shined again. His figure slowly dissipated in the void. The next moment, he was already standing inside the 9th sky-suppressing tower. In front of him, it's Xiaozhou's head, a huge head as clear as crystal. Human, you are very brave. Unfortunately, bravery does not mean success. Xiaozhou's voice echoed in the vast but extremely oppressive Tianjun Tower. Lu Yu didn't say much. He silently extended his hand. On the fingertips, waves of extremely rich beast-controlling power spread out. Buzz, buzz. As Lu Yu waved his fingertips, a mysterious contract formation was rapidly taking shape in midair. Current level of Beast Master, 7th level. Contract object. Holy Glory level beast, extremely weak, 1/9 soul body. Contract probability detection. The probability of contract success is 5%. Should we increase investment in beast control to increase the probability of contract? Mechanical beeps sounded in Lu Yu's ears. This probability. To be honest, it's very low. To know, with Lu Yu's current 7th level beast master level, even if he doesn't invest more in beast control, the probability of contracting with a king level beast is as high as 95%. But facing the extremely weak time dragon, which even only has 1/9 of its soul origin, the probability is only 5%. The probability of 5% is very, very low. Grandma often said. The philosophy of life lies in study. The corner of Lu Yu's mouth curled up. The next moment, the 9th key in his palm burst out with endless bright light. Buzz, buzz. The entire Tianjin Tower began to tremble violently. A trace of energy containing the power of time diffused from the deepest part of Zhenshan Tower and surged towards Lu Yu. This is. The Tianjin Tower has absorbed a full 120,000 years of savings from the Dragon of Time. This is the power that the Dragon of Time once controlled. Activate your talent, transformation. Lu Yu shouted in his heart. Transformation talent can transform all energy into beast-controlling power. The power of time is also within this category. And this is exactly Lu Yu's confidence. The reason why he chose the Dragon of Time in the first place was not because he had a brain disorder or because he just wanted to face difficulties. Quite the opposite, based on the information obtained from Old Man Yan. In the past 120,000 years, every time the secret realm was opened, humans had opened the sky-suppressing tower and tried to suppress the Holy Sky Dragon, but no one had ever succeeded. The remaining 8 sky-suppressing towers have all been opened to a greater or lesser extent. The main source of power for the assessors to suppress the Holy Sky Dragon is the sky-suppressing tower. In other words, in these 9 sky-holding towers, only the 9th tower that was resurrected for the first time has the most accumulated energy. Study. All stud. Now, endless, ocean-like power of time poured crazily into Lu Yu's body. These powers of time are then transformed into the power of beast control through the beast control space. All the beast controlling power, no matter what was left, was lost in the contract formation engraved by Lu Yu. Bite. Ding ding ding. Lu Yu's ear. Mechanical beeps sounded one after another. The power of beast control is injected, and the probability of contract is increased. Current success probability, 7%. Current success probability, 10%. Current success probability, 23%. Current success probability, 36%. Current success probability, 51%. I don't know how long it has been. Until all the power accumulated by the Tianjin Tower for 120,000 years has been transformed into the power of beast control and poured into the contract formation in front of you. Current success probability, 99.99%. Lu Yu's ear. The last, crisp and clear prompt sounded. And Lu Yu. But the contract was not started immediately. Instead, he took out the core of the king-level beast that he had obtained from the endless beast tide before. 99.99% is not safe. What I want, it's 100%. Buzz, buzz. Dozens of king-level beast cores were all transformed by Lu Yu into beast-controlling power and injected into the contract formation in front of him. Bite. The probability has been increased to the maximum value. Current success probability, 100%. Finally, this prompt sounded in Lu Yu's ears. Until now, Lu Yu's face finally revealed a brilliant smile. Buzz, buzz. In front of him, the contract circle, which was originally only 2 meters in diameter, now expanded to almost cover the entire inner space of the Tianjin Tower. And on Xiaozhou's crystal clear and huge head, finally, for the first time, he showed some surprise. Before, it has countless opportunities to interrupt Lu Yu. But it doesn't. It just wants to see what the human in front of it is capable of. And now, at this moment, when it felt an unspeakable threatening aura from this mysterious contract formation. Xiaoju finally started to panic. It's time. Backtrack. Xiaoju closed her eyes tightly and muttered in a low voice. Buzz. Buzz. In an instant, everything in this giant tower began to flow backwards in time. Lu Yu's face, that originally brilliant smile, began to play backwards frame by frame, like a slide. From brilliant to thoughtful, from thinking to solemnity, from solemn to stunned, until Lu Yu's thoughts were traced back to the moment he just stepped into the Tianjin Tower. But it's a coincidence. Even Lu Yu was forced to go back in time. This wave enveloped the entire huge contract formation, but there was still no change at all. It's like it exists naturally. It's like it symbolizes the highest rule, even higher than the power of time. This moment, Xiaoju panicked. Its face showed deep disbelief and horror. And not far away, Lu Yu felt dazed for a while. Last moment. He is still in the void. Now, but he was already standing inside the ninth sky-suppressing tower. Grandma often said, the philosophy of life is study, same as before, Lu Yu murmured, stretched out his fingers, and began to carve a contract formation in the air. Then, Mi Sao, where is the power of beast control that I have accumulated for so long? How come there's not even a drop left on the horse? Lu Yu was stunned. At this moment, in his consciousness, he had just stepped into the Tianjin Tower and was about to make a contract. Oh shit, why is the core of the king-level beast gone? Lu Yu looked into the beast-controlling space, his face as dark as coal. But, the next moment, bite, a clear tone sounded in his ears. The probability has been increased to the maximum value. Current success probability, 100%. Do you want to make a contract immediately? This moment, Lu Yu was stunned. His little brain fell into a downtime state for a while. Until he looked up. I saw the confused and panicked look on Xiaoju's huge head. He looked up. I saw the huge contract formation that completely enveloped the entire giant tower. Time. In Lu Yu's mind, thoughts kept spinning. My thoughts and ideas were forced back in time. Lu Yu murmured to himself, seeming to have some realization. And the next moment, a thought came into his mind. Deed of progress. The words are not finished yet. Buzz. The terrifying power of time once again spread out from Xiaoju's head. Time, go back. Grandma often said, the philosophy of life is study. Hey, I'm Sao. Time, go back. Grandma often said. Hey, I'm Sao. Time, go back. Grandma often. Time, go back. Inside the ninth Tianjin Tower, Lu Yu's thoughts and ideas were brought back to the starting point again and again. The strength in Xiaoju's body was gradually weakening. No matter how terrifying the power of time is, it is not infinite after all. Not to mention, it's an extremely mana-consuming ability like backtracking. Finally, I don't know how much time has passed. I don't know how many times Xiaoju has gone back in time. The power in its body was finally exhausted to the extreme. So much so, it tried its best, but it couldn't go back in time even once. And not far in front of it, Lu Yu's figure appeared. Grandma often said, why do these words feel so familiar, as if they have been said many times? Lu Yu frowned, a bit of confusion appearing on his delicate face. Then, almost exactly the same as what happened before. Within a very short period of time, Lu Yu realized that his thoughts were being retraced. At the same time, the mechanical prompt sounded in his ears again. The probability has been increased to the maximum value. Current success probability, 100%. Do you want to make a contract immediately? Contract. This time, don't know why, it seems to be driven by instinct. Lu Yu didn't even hesitate for half a second and said directly in his heart. Buzz. This moment, under the gaze of Xiaoju's powerless yet seemingly liberated eyes, a burst of strange and inexplicable power erupted from this huge contract formation that covered the entire sky-suppressing tower. Whoosh! This power seems to transcend all time and space and sink into the deepest soul of Xiaoju's head. Click. This moment, Xiaoju felt it clearly. Its spiritual connection with the other 8 brothers has been severed. Instead, it is a brand new, strange but hard to resist spiritual connection. That's this human being in front of me. Xiaozhu weakly raised her eyes and looked at Lu Yu. In the eyes, I can no longer think of even the slightest other idea. The only thing left is endless loyalty. Owner. In Xiaozhu's mouth, say these two words, and Lu Yu. At this moment, his entire body was still closed with his eyes tightly closed. The contract was successful, but the spiritual power of the Dragon of Time is too huge. So that, for a time, it had a certain impact on Lu Yu's soul. Lu Yu only felt that. There were bouts of trance in my mind. Until, buzz, buzz, he suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes completely turned into a strange crystal color. Wow, at the same time, his hair actually began to turn from jet black to dark blonde inch by inch, automatically without wind. This moment, Lu Yu's eyes were extremely indifferent. He held out his hand. Tap lightly towards the void in front of you. Buzz. In an instant, everything in Genshin Tower. The flow of air and the escape of source power are all stagnant. This moment, time freezes. This moment, Lu Yu seemed to have transformed into a real dragon of time. Outside the 9th Tianjin Tower. Endless void, desolate land. 8 huge heads emerged from the shadows. When you say something, I say something, booming. Their words echoed throughout the void. Boss. That human kid doesn't know how high the sky is and how dare he be the first to challenge Xiaozhu. He will definitely fail. The 4th child, burning with blazing flames, shouted carelessly. That's right, it's not good to choose anyone but Xiaozhu. Xiaozhu's ability is hard for us 8 brothers to compete with. Stupid humans indeed. Now, even Lao Wu, who was always calm and in charge of the ultimate power of the earth element, made a comment in an angry voice. And in the void, a huge golden head with a thick smile on his face. As the eldest of 9 brothers, it had promised many times before, but was beaten in the face every time, so that it lost a lot of face in front of many brothers. Fortunately, that human being is really stupid to the extreme. Let's look at the results. It was not wrong after all. Xiaozhu is in charge of the strange power of time. How can a small human resist it? As for conquest and contracts, that is even more nonsense. Of course, having said that, I have always felt that even if Old Man Yan had arranged so many things, he would eventually fail. How can a mere human be qualified to control the power of a clan of giant beasts like us? What Old Man Yan didn't even manage to do at the beginning, but he expects those who come after him to do it. That's ridiculous. The huge golden head was in an extremely happy mood at this moment. It even dared to comment directly on Old Man Yan. Such words. It also makes the other brothers feel more at ease. Yeah, brother is right. Now we're just waiting for news from Xiaozhu. Although humans don't know how to obtain the 9 keys, in the end they are just working in vain. In the void, the tone of the big heads seemed very relaxed and happy. Until, click, click, in the dark, a slight broken sound seemed to sound in the hearts of the 8 brothers at the same time. This moment, the expressions of the 8 brothers changed drastically in an instant. Brother, I can no longer sense Xiaozhu's spiritual connection. The 4th child's eyes widened and he shouted in horror. Endless flames swept across the entire void. The other brothers all looked dull and stunned at this moment. Because in their perception, they have also lost contact with Xiaozhu. This situation never appeared. Although the 9-turn Holy Dragon has 9 heads and controls 9 kinds of ultimate power, the 9 brothers have a strong spiritual connection with each other from the beginning of their birth. Through this connection, they can even communicate with each other. But at this moment, contact is broken, completely broken. Brother, what happened? What the hell is going on? In the void, the rumble of the words trembled. But the face of the huge golden head was blank and lost. I have no idea. This has never happened. The golden boss murmured. Suddenly, its huge golden eyes froze as it suddenly thought of something. Swish. It turned its head suddenly and looked closely at the 9th sky-suppressing tower. Could it be? But it's impossible. How could a human be? The next moment, the words of the golden boss came to an abrupt end. Because, in the void, there was a trembling sound. Buzz. Lu Yu's figure has already appeared in the void outside the Tianjin Tower. He had long dark golden hair, and his eyes turned into a crystal-like color. He stands in the void. Buzz, buzz. His whole body was always filled with a mysterious and inexplicable fluctuation. That's The power of time. That's Xiaozhou's breath. And immediately after, roar, in the void. It was as if there was a shocking roar. A huge, crystal-clear head condensed faintly behind Lu Yu. Eldest brother, second brother, third brother, minor brother. Submit to my lord. The huge head suddenly opened its mouth. The words he spat out made all the other 8 brothers completely stunned. Xiaozhou. He actually called this weak human being his master. And this moment, Lu Yu's indifferent gaze swept over the 8 brothers one after another. Final. His eyes fell on the largest golden head. The boss in charge of the ultimate Jin Zheng power. His second contract goal. Ah, human, no matter what tricks you used to trick Xiaozhou into recognizing you as your master. There is no way you can conquer me. It is the dragon of Jin Zheng, the one who controls all Jin Zheng's power in the world. The golden head noticed Lu Yu's gaze. After being stunned for a moment, he suddenly became frightened and angry. He roared, thousands of miles in radius. In an instant, the endless sharp power of Jin Zheng roared. And Lu Yu, he just smiled faintly. Buzz. He had a thought in his mind. From the palm of his hand, a golden key flew out. Boom. Rumble. The first sky-suppressing tower is fully opened. Lu Yu and Xiaozhou's head had also disappeared. Inside the first Tianjun tower, Lu Yu raised his head. Looking at the huge golden head in front of him, a bright smile appeared on his face. Hope, you big brother, don't let me down. In the void, as Lu Yu's figure disappeared, the second child, the third child, Xiaoba. The remaining 7 brothers looked at each other in confusion. All of a sudden, all of them fell into silence. In the void, there was silence. It's been a long time. Just now a whimpering whisper sounded. Second brother, third brother, 7th brother. Brother, he won't be forcibly conquered by that human being like Xiaozhou, right? Ooh, Xiaoba is scared. Xiaoba doesn't want to be treated as a pet. The words fell. The other brothers subconsciously wanted to say something to comfort Xiaoba, who had the weakest personality. But, I hesitated for a long time, but couldn't even form a single word. Even the 4th child with the most fiery personality. At this moment, he was also staring blankly in the direction of the 9th giant tower. How could it be? Xiaozhou is obviously the strongest. No. Then humans must have used some trick. Brother will definitely not be conquered, right? I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.